2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/fan and use code FAN. That's code FAN at prizepicks.com/fan.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
What's up, Panther fam? This is your boy, the Professor, a.k.a. Tony Dunn. I know you guys can't probably barely hear me. I can't hear myself over that sweet intro right there. But man, the C3 Panthers Podcast, hanging out in the Vivid Seats studio. Tonight's show, Primetime, Pomp, and Circumstance. What we need is a thumbs up in the chat room for the audio. And now I'm giving the thumbs up to my co-host, Cody Lashney. How you doing, my friend?
Tony Dunn, what's up, brother? It's another Tuesday night. We have so much to talk about, so many opinions. The chat room is lit up, as always. Underground West, Tim Tizzy, Tommy Doc Martin, Ken Dye, all the usuals. It's all love. Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
Tonight's show is episode 19.31 or 32. I think it's 3.1. It might be 3.2. Who knows? We've done 31 to 32 shows at the very minimum. Some bonus shows in between there. The show title is Primetime, Pomp, and Circumstances. We're going to have a guest tonight, Gene Thomas, host of Buck What You Heard podcast, to help us preview this game. Cody's here hanging out with me, and hopefully we're going to get the Bat Daddy, a.k.a. Greg Schlager, back. We're having a little technical difficulties with his audio, and Ken says our audio is great. So, Cody, we're all systems go, and tonight we've got a ton to talk about. We've got thoughts. We're going to talk about some basic thoughts now and reflect back on the Panthers home opener loss to the Rams. Cam and the offense, can they get back on track? Will McCaffrey be the best back of the year? McCoy revenge match in the primetime lights. We've got great audio from the coaches, from Kevin Donnelly, some different things I've been pulling together. We're going to give you one of the most comprehensive fan perspectives of what's going on in Carolina. But before we get into the show, I got to ask everybody to support us. We can grow this community. It's important. You saw the Panther fans' exodus after the Cam Newton interception. We do not need to be a laughingstock of the NFL as a fan base. And that is part of our mission right here, to grow a community together. So you can help grow Panther Nation by participating in the show in the Hangouts. You can make sure to smash the thumbs up button if you like the show. If you don't like the show, hit the thumbs down button for all I care. Let us know you're there. Participate in the comments and the cat calls line. The cat calls are going to be fire tonight. The number is 252-228-5098, and you can continue to also to support the show by buying some swag. You can find the Keep Pounding t-shirt on the website. The link is in the notes. I stand with Cam. Cam wows. It helps us keep the website running and our mission of growing Panther Nation together. Now, Cody, We don't got Greg. Is Greg back yet?
No, not yet.
Here, let's try this. Gene, I know Gene wants to test his audio. Can you hear me? He's on mute.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Fantastic. Hey, Gene from Buck What You Heard is already in here, and it sounds like if he's John Wick running for president, he wants to hang out and talk football with us tonight. So you just want to come in right now?
Yeah, man, I love talking football, man. That was a really good game, by the way. It didn't end up the way you wanted it to, but it was still a good game. It was a great start to the season.
Yeah. Gene, real quick, plug your podcast, the best podcast name on the earth. My favorite podcast title. I tell you that.
Buck What You Heard, and we are on Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Fantastic. So we're going to take a little time and look back, though, before we look ahead. And the dust is settled now, Cody.
Yes.
We are here. Where are we at? I guess my ultimate question is, where are you at after the loss? Now, is this a tough loss to a good team? Is this a missed opportunity? Or does this loss, and this is the real, does this loss douse the fires of optimism like Smokey the Bear near a campfire, pouring it, stirring it, making sure it's cold? Is your optimism doused? Where are you at, Cody?
My optimism is not doused. I'm aware that this is the first game of the season. And, honestly, it's a little bit of all of that. The Rams were in the Super Bowl, a powerful offense, a powerful defense, and there was a lot to love from Sunday's football game. Honesty is my policy going forward this year. And I'm in love with our roster, but I don't know how comfortable I am with Ron Rivera and Norv Turner. I hope I'm wrong. But there was still some stuff that happened that causes me to question a lot of the decision-making abilities. But at the same time, it's so early. I'm not worried about the Cam Newton overthrows. You have to practice, and you have to build reps, and you have to do those things time and time in a row in order for you to find your rhythm. So I'm not worried about Cam Newton. There's some stuff that we have to clean up for sure. But, I'm still optimistic. But we have a lot of work to do, a lot of work.
I tell you what I am mad. I am fired up.
Can I jump in here real quick? I just want to
sure, man.
This is overreaction in my opinion. It's one game. Number one,
for sure.
It's not a division rival. Division rivals count for more games. This was a game against a very tough opponent. First game of the season. And I don't know how many times I've seen teams start out hot, 4 in a row, 5 in a row wins, and then they just kind of fizzle out middle of the season, back into the season, and a lot of times don't even make it to the playoffs. The thing is, it's going to really show how good a team is how you bounce back from a loss.
Yes.
And especially a close loss like that. And, whether it's the Bucs or, whether it's Carolina or whoever the team is, you have to get back in there. I have that amnesia, get in there, get ready for the next game, because this is a short week for both teams, and they have to be on their best and ready to go out there and perform.
I tell you what, though, I'm angry, Gene, and it's not an overreaction in this point. Is look, yes, good team, week 1, you definitely don't lose anything, but windows are small in the NFL. Opportunities are fleeting, and this was in the famous lines of Ron Rivera, a missed opportunity. I'm mad. I'm irritated. We let this game get away from us. We had the team. We had a team that was good enough to win, and we made too many mistakes. We had missed opportunities, whether it be Cam and the rust, whether it be a missed field goal. All these small little things add up. And the thing, though, is I just wanted so bad to start out and put the dang foot on their throat. I thought we had the team to do it, and I thought we shot ourselves in the foot over and over. Every time we got some momentum, we turned the ball over. We would stymie out. There were a lot of things I don't think are indicative that this team, in fact, my optimism has not waned at all for this team. In fact, it might have slightly grew in the background because of how good Christian McCaffrey looked, how the offensive line looked like it could be a formidable bunch this year, how the defense was pretty spot on for a lot of that game. So I do think there's a lot to glean off of this. I am not worried, but I am mad that we missed the opportunity because we're a good team, and good teams can't let games get away from them. All right. Man, I put y'all to sleep. Did Cody?
I don't know how you come back from that. You have, as a fan, this is a fan show. I don't think there's a wrong way to feel about your team, especially if they lose games like that, or like the way Tampa lost. I mean, you can be upset about it. Me, hey, that was Sunday. I'm ready to move on now. Nothing you can do about that loss. You got to move on and just get prepared for the next team. This is a Thursday night. This is a Thursday night game, and Thursday night games are. I really don't care for them. But
no, everybody looks bad in a Thursday night game.
Yeah, and I echo the same sentiments too. And listen, there's a lot of lies being told around this time of the NFL football season. A lot of good teams are going to fall off a cliff, and a lot of bad teams are going to turn it on. So I'm not too worried about it. There are some things that I was disappointed with. I don't like our use of the defensive personnel and the goal line situations. I thought that we went our backups far too much. I know it was hot. I know those big boys were tired. But, man, in situations like that, you have to have your best players on the football field. And I want to see Norv Turner implement Curtis Samuel on this football team in a much larger way. I believe that's paramount for us to be a high-powered offense. And if we can do that, then we'll be okay. So I'm not too worried, and I'm excited for Thursday night.
So do you guys think your expectations are kind of high with a brand new defense? And this is a brand new defensive scheme. Yes. And I think it's kind of unrealistic to, I don't know, for me, just as an outsider looking in, the Bucs are experiencing the same thing with a new defense, but sometimes it just takes a little bit for a team to gel. And I'm not making excuses. These are just things that I've seen where teams are able to finally come together and put together wins. So, I mean, just to your fans and listeners out there, that's definitely something to keep in mind, is that this is a brand new defense. This has gone totally away from anything that the Carolina Panthers have run in the past decade.
Two decades, longer. 20 years, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that needs to be kept in perspective as well, is that you're totally going away from anything that this team has done defensively, and you're trying to put stuff together. This is the first game of the season, and I think they put up good numbers. They put up a good show against the Super Bowl runner-up, and I thought that was just a good game.
Yeah, for sure. Before we answer that, Greg, our buddy Bat Daddy is joining us.
Can you hear us, Greg?
I can hear y'all this time.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, the Bat Daddy is here. Greg Schlager, welcome to the podcast. How you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I've actually been listening to y'all while I've been trying to get my computer working, and I agree with everything y'all are saying. It's y'all are spot on, man. Week one, don't overreact.
Yeah, it is. You don't want to. I am not making a judgment on our team based on this. What I just continue to feel is that this is one of the most talented teams I think that we've had. Or at least it seems that way. Now, there are questions. Will this defense work out? All of those things. I think that's an excellent point to raise. But at the same time, our defense was very good in this game, limiting them to basically 23 points because one of them was essentially an offense, a turnover. They were very good against one of the, a team that didn't play very well. So they weren't exceptional, but it was a decent performance by the defense. I just want this. I'm not going to freak out. I just want a team where every moment seems urgent to the team.
It didn't look like they were engaged.
Yeah, and the heat was crazy. It was so hot. I mean, my face is still sunburned from it. People were dying out there. It was bad, but this is everybody's got to play the game. They were tired. I don't, like I said, like Cody said, no need to, this is the time of lies. The same thing that Gene said. Teams that are going to start out, we started out 6-2 and finished with a losing record, right?
Fell off a cliff.
Right.
Yeah.
Real fast shout out to Ross in the chat for the $5 love bomb.
Heck yeah.
If you think our loss was disappointing Sunday, imagine what Browns fans are thinking CMC for MVP. Yeah, Ross, I'm on your team, man.
Oh gosh,
listen,
yeah.
It could always be, hey, we could be the Atlanta Falcons right now. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Or we could be the Houston Texans.
I hope they keep that offensive coordinator for a couple of decades.
Oh yeah, forever.
Gosh. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to move on.
Hey, real quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Before you move on, I wanted to say something real quick because I'm coming in a little late. I know that y'all were talking about not being upset about it, and I wanted to say the same thing, but we also shouldn't put blame on one individual.
Excellent.
A lot of different
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
things went wrong. I know y'all kind of pointed on that, but I know that Laura's talking about Cam Newton's fault.
No, it's not
totally
any-
Cam Newton's fault. And I just want to say it is partially, like y'all said, Cam Newton's fault. But you can't blame it all on one play specifically. Like, I think the caller talked about the overthrow was the reason we lost the game. But there's no telling that even if he didn't overthrow that ball would have even been caught or anything would have happened after that. I can tell you what would have changed is if the field goal was made, that would have been 3 more points. And so you can point at different things, but there's no one thing you can point at to make the game. You know,
it's a culmination.
The game. I think the caller pointed that one play out, and it's not true.
Yeah, and you know, I looked back at that play. If anything, there's a reason to be hopeful because Cam Newton put too much sauce on that, man. Overthrew it. It had too much zip. That means the shoulder's okay. Listen, it takes time to build up into a rhythm on your offense. And after the foot injury, he was missing practice reps. And that matters a lot to building an offense that knows what they're doing. So I'm not too worried about it. Cam Newton seems fine. He does have to bounce back, but I'm not worried about him. It'll be fine. I'm not worried about Cam Newton.
You win as a team. You win as a team, you lose as a team, right? Is that there are plays that, first, Cam Newton left a lot on the field. He didn't have a good game. He was not sharp, but at times he was, right? At times he looked pretty good. So it wasn't a disaster of a game for Cam Newton. It wasn't something that says, hey, Cam Newton's done, his shoulder's over, it's time for a new era. Nowhere on that. At the same time,
but it wasn't a masterpiece. Right.
Yeah, this isn't on the kicker either. It's not on Ron. It's on everybody. The team lost as a team. They missed opportunities on 3 sides of the football. Everywhere and Steve Smith said this in an interview. It's a poor way of looking at football because on every single play somebody is making a mistake. Right. Somebody is making a mistake on somewhere on every play. Somebody's missing an assignment. Somebody's not getting off the ball quick enough. Somebody is doing something that contributes to the loss. So yes, it is an easy way, a scapegoat type assessment. Now, guys can have games that have negative impacts, right? Cam's game was kind of a neutral one. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It was kind of, you know what? It was all right, and we need to get better. He needs to get better. Here, let's move on to Cam here. I want to pull up a segment. This is Kevin Donnelly on WFNZ talking about Cam's confidence at this point. And I think this is an interesting point. It's a little long of a clip, 2 minutes, so hang on to your seats. Hang on to your hats.
You know, sometimes we look at Cam Newton and, we see his fashion sense. We see the way he carries himself. We see how much joy he has at practice and all these different things. And you just feel this exuding confidence from him. But, confidence on the football field comes with getting live action work. He did not have a lot of that in the preseason and then had so much he had to struggle with the last 8, games of the season last year. I think, his confidence is a little low right now. It's going to take some time to get back there. And it seems funny to say that about Cam, but he's got, obviously we all know the skills and he feels healthy and that's what the reports are saying and that he's thrown some deep ones at camp. And so all systems are go. It just felt like in a lot of ways there were some similarities to how we saw the season end for the Panthers offensively with just not really taking some deep shots. And really I think the throw that was overthrown to Curtis Samuel was his longest attempt of the day, that traveling by air. And I think the 17-yarder was actually probably Christian McCaffrey and probably ran for half those yards. So it wasn't a very deep ball. So we saw a lot of just kind of hitting his receivers, and at times, it looked like a well-oiled machine. I mean, they were moving down the field, just couldn't capitalize to get the points. But to me, when I'm looking at it, it just feels like Cam just needs a few games to get everything back to form. And, hopefully there'll be a big increase from Sunday to Thursday night. I think it's obviously not nearly as tough as opponent.
Yeah, I lost the audio.
I lost it. I didn't hear anything.
A pretty exciting atmosphere to have a
you
primetime
guys
game
lost the audio?
So,
yeah, I lost the audio.
He steps up to that
All
challenge
right,
and just, sharpens up a little bit because the offense is there.
All right, hold on, guys. 1 second here. Let me just change this setting.
That's the beauty of live broadcasts.
Yeah,
don't we know about it? Don't we know about it?
They were getting a echo, and I tried to fix it.
They say echo's gone in the chat.
Yeah, but then you guys can't hear it. Here we go. Monitor only, mute, output, selection. I need to remove this completely from the broadcast. Hold on. All right. So let's just talk about the clip real quick and the idea that Cam needs to get some confidence.
100%. I mean, I'll jump in first here, and I kind of already alluded to it. I mean, listen, you have to build up a rhythm with your offense. You have to get on the same page as your wide receivers. You have to, know the plays at the line of scrimmage. There's so much that goes into playing quarterback. And it's funny that everyone criticizes the quarterback, but no one knows how hard it is of a position to play. It's incredibly hard, man. That's why I'm not worried about Cam Newton. It takes time to build up a rhythm, throwing the ball down the field, reading the defense and what they're allowing for. There's so much that goes into it. So, yeah, did Cam play well at the end? No, he did not. He missed some open throws. And that's just how it is. But that's not indicative of the football player that we know, and that's why I'm not worried about it moving forward.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in here real quick. Cam Newton's been in the league for I don't know how many years. He's a professional. He knows what's required to be successful in the game. I don't think he lacks confidence. I think that he just had a bad game. I thought the defense, the Rams defense played well, and that could have been part of the reason that he struggled. But as far as him needing confidence, I don't think he does. I think he'll bounce back. Cam Newton is Cam Newton, and he'll always, he has these games sometimes, but he always manages to bounce back from them.
Right.
Yep. All right, I do want to test this out, guys, because I think I've identified the issues and the chat room. Here we go with the last 10 seconds of the call. Not that it matters, but here in the last 10 seconds doesn't matter. But tell me the echo's gone.
The weapons, I thought the offensive line did a great job. So, the sky's the limit for the offense. We just got to get QB1 playing at his best.
I like that ending right there. We got to get QB1 playing at his best. And I do think that's it. It is sometimes we expect these guys, like he said, the dress, the flash, the smile, all of those types of things. We expect these guys to never get nervous. And for Cam at this point, there has been absolutely, he hasn't had any success in a while. And you know how emotional he gets is that he just, I feel like, needs to get a win under his belt. Like he said, I just want to win. I just want to win. I just want to win. It's time for him to get his juju back, his mojo back. Right?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. The thing that bothers me about it is, for some reason, he is under a microscope a lot more than other quarterbacks are. I mean, you look at Aaron Rodgers in week 1, they scored 10 points. He had one drive where he did anything. He looked worse than Cam Newton did. I don't care what anybody says, but you don't hear anybody say anything about Aaron Rodgers looking terrible and his inaccuracy and everything else. I was talking about this last night with the Saints game. I was on Twitter just spouting off a lot of stuff about Drew Brees because he'll throw a ball over a receiver and nothing said about it. But Cam Newton will do it, and all of a sudden it's, there's Cam Newton showing his inaccuracies again. He's not a touch quarterback. And I don't understand why that's like that. It just blows my mind.
Well, Cam has always been that to that degree, but I think here is Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees both have Super Bowl championships, and they are super elite, or at least for Brees he is.
Yeah,
I think here for Cam, the problem with Cam is there's half the people, the criticism comes from people that just don't like him and don't think he can be good or is good, right? There's that group that has always existed and will exist. But here I think it's just frustrating. Cody, we talked about this in the post game, is that it's frustrating that he misses those layups at times. And it's like Cam is so good, and then he throws it right in the dirt, right, or something like that, and that is frustrating to people. And those people who don't like him already latch on to that frustration and then call it that Cam is not. Then, like you said, then they hyper do the criticism.
Well, and it also feeds into the narrative that Cam Newton, is not that accurate of a quarterback. But what it doesn't account for is that the majority of his time at Carolina, which has been a vertical offense with two big body, slow wide receivers having to make jump balls all the time. And your completion percentage goes down when you're forced to do that all the time. So now you have a scenario where we do have these faster, younger players. So now everyone's saying, well, there's no reason for Cam Newton to have that happen anymore. And so when he does miss a throw, now it's even more under a magnifying glass to the people that were already not very high on him or don't know the talent level that he's capable of.
But to be fair to the criticism, though, there is real, the idea is that
criticism for every quarterback in the NFL.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That is
every
it.
one of them.
That is right.
Every single one of them.
And Cam Newton gives us the best chance to win. And unless we're going to swap him out with Tom Brady, who is a younger Tom Brady, or even a younger or Aaron Rodgers or something like that, then really you're probably going down before you go up. Now, here, and the other thing is this, we also, and to those people who are down on Cam at the moment, we haven't seen in a long time a really just dominant game by Cam. We have seen good games from Cam, but we haven't seen one where is Cam's just got to get the confidence back. He's got to make a play like Deshaun Watson did last night.
When was the last time he was 100% healthy? I mean, no aches, no banged up. I'm not making this as an excuse, but I know for me, I have tendonitis in my elbow, and trying to hit a golf ball is painful. And just putting that in perspective with what he has to do and the physical beating that he takes, I just kind of wonder, when was he healthy the last time to where he could be that dominant player?
So I know we probably all have a different answer. The last game that I remember Cam Newton playing where I had no doubt about him and he was special was that playoff game 2017 in the Superdome in New Orleans. That, in my opinion, was Cam Newton at his absolute best. And since then, I don't remember him having an absolute dominant performance. I don't know what Tony and Greg feel, but that's probably since 2017.
I don't know if I can pinpoint the last time he had a complete game that was dominant, but I know last year when we started the season, he was 6-2, and I remember that Philly game, we were down, 17 in the fourth quarter, and he came back and played that fourth quarter and brought us back. I mean,
yeah,
I've seen him have some dominant performances, maybe not the whole game, but you rarely see any quarterback dominate the entire game. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I agree. I don't know the last time I saw him 100% healthy.
I don't know if, you might have just seen it for the first time, to be honest, last week. And since 20.
And I would have to say it's been seasons, plural, where he's just been going through the whole season where he's been healthy. And he hasn't had like a shoulder or an ankle or there. And I know he's had concussions and he's played through them. I've seen some of the hits that he's taken and the referees don't call anything and he gets up or whatever and he plays through it. But I just have not seen Cam Newton 100% healthy in quite a long time. So I think that needs to be added into the conversation as well.
And if I may add one more thing to that real fast, if you look at Patrick Mahomes and Carson Wentz and all these incredible players, they have offensive-minded coaches that benefit them when they're calling plays. I cannot say it enough how much coaching matters in the NFL. It's not just Tom Brady, it's Bill Belichick. It's not just Drew Brees, it's Sean Payton. Cam Newton really hasn't had someone that benefits him offensively, and we're hoping that it's Norv Turner. We all have different opinions of Norv, but it is what it is right now.
Yeah.
I think the last time, look, is that Cam and I don't and Herbert is in there saying that we're making excuses, right? Brother Herbert.
I'm not. I promise I'm not. I'm just. It is what it is.
Don't worry. He is a Cam Newton hater. It's okay, folks. Brandon Herbert is a Cam Newton hater. It's okay. He's a Panther fan who thinks that Cam is a below average quarterback, right? Now, through the first 8 games last year, I would say Cam was pretty dang top of the league. Like, he was on pace. If Mahomes wouldn't have been throwing 50,000 yards, he would have been in the conversation for league MVP through 8 games last year. Now, he gets hurt, and then, right, so it's been a long time. It's been a long time since we have not seen Cam put together a game like Christian McCaffrey put together on Sunday in a while. But when we see it, don't worry, it's coming. It's going to be here. It might be here this Thursday. It might be 4 weeks from now. Cam is going to get his mojo back. Cam is going to remind you. But he is, and to be fair to the critics, Cam is a hot and cold quarterback to a degree. He's a momentum guy. And he's lost his momentum for a while now. He's been fatigued. Look, Brother Herbert's favorite dude, the other guy that he likes more than Cam Newton, Andrew Luck, retired because he lost his momentum and has been dealing with, in many ways, a litany of injuries, just like every player has. So, look, is that, Cam hasn't been the top of his game since arguably 2016. There were flashes in 2017. There were flashes in 2018. But he hasn't put together a full season since 2015 when we go to the Super Bowl. Now, let's go on to the next thing. Cody, in reflection of the game real quick, I know, you were critical of the offense. Yes. And some of the idea is that, look, is this on Cam? Is this on Norv Turner? Where is this at? I think, again, we said spread the blame. Norv Turner had here. Just like a player can make good plays and bad plays, coordinators can make good calls and bad calls, or good calls and okay calls. Here's Kevin Donnelly on the Panthers offense and what he thought, and if it was vanilla or not.
Is there any truth to that? I mean, do you think they came out yesterday a bit conservative with, Cam's health and Thursday against Tampa Bay in mind?
Well, I think I agree. I agree with that. I think that the game plan overall, I left with the sense of I was expecting 2 or 3 more gadget plays or uniquely created ways to get Curtis Samuel or DJ Moore the ball in space, running with it. They're just very effective at it. I think it, kind of spreads the field also, vertically and horizontally at the same time when you're giving the ball to a receiver who's got a lot of running open, space to run with. So to me, I felt like exactly like the fans. It seemed a little bit vanilla to me. I was expecting a big notch up from the preseason, what we saw. So this is the opening game, NFC defending champs. You feel like you're going to throw a lot at it to give yourself the best chance and put you in situations where you can score points and get this win. I really wanted Cam Newton to run a little bit more, but, of course, we don't know the extent of the foot injury he did have in that third preseason game, where they'd been a little bit more cautious to kind of ease him in there with this. It is a long season, and, of course, there's going to be some teams that start out 0-2 that are going to flip the switch, and suddenly they're on a big roll, and there's teams that are going to start out 2-0 that are going to drop off the map, and we won't hear from them again when it comes playoff time. So, I'm not deeply concerned about it, but I think that this offense is at its best when Cam Newton is sharp and is throwing really precise balls and is accurate, and Norv Turner's on his game in terms of getting design plays that set up unique situations. I mean, we saw it the one time with just a very simple adjustment, but how it messed up the Rams in terms of their run fits and what was the play going to be designed when Christian McCaffrey took the direct snap and just practically walked into the end zone. And I think fans, and I did too, expected to see 2 or 3 more plays with little wrinkles like that to hopefully pop some big chunk yards.
So there is that. Now, I don't personally. Sometimes maybe I guess we can be critical of certain plays. At times it's kind of hard. It's easy to play Monday morning quarterback and to tell coordinators what they could have done after we see that it didn't work. Our offense moved the ball at times really well, and at times it didn't. North Turner had this while it was rather vanilla, right? There wasn't a lot of twists and turns to this offense. They were moving the ball, and they were somewhat effective against this Rams defense. So I don't think that saying it was a bad game plan is necessary. Vanilla, somewhat lacking aggression, and maybe something to manufacture some points when we are struggling. Yes. So guys, turning this over after hearing Kevin Donnelly's call, open with you, Greg. Greg, what do you think about the Panthers' offensive? Where was the game plan in this, and what did you think of the offense altogether?
Well, I was listening to one of the radio shows or morning shows I listen to in the Speak for Yourself podcast. I listened to it the next day, but they were talking about it today, and Mark Schlereth is on there, and he was talking about how football is 70% scripted and 30%, on the fly. And different teams play different ways. Like teams like Pittsburgh plays like 50-50 where they're just kind of playing backyard football. I think that when you talk about it being scripted like that, you have a game plan, but you have to adjust fire based on what happens during the game. And Carolina just didn't do a good job of adjusting, I feel. I think we had a plan and we had an idea of what we wanted to go do. I don't think we were trying to be super aggressive because I feel like we were still kind of knocking the rust off. We realized this is game one, but we wanted to see that we were able to run with this team. This is the Super Bowl contenders from last year, the NFC champions. And in my opinion, they didn't beat us. We beat ourselves. Like we had every aspect, like we could have won this game easily had we just not made the mistakes we made. I think our offense looks really good. I mean, not a lot of teams put up 27 points this weekend.
And
especially against the defense like the Rams. So go ahead, Greg.
And to be honest with you, Greg, it's honestly kind of a miracle that we even pulled off 27 points.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that we almost haphazardly fell into a W, even in spite of our performances. And listen, the Rams were rusty. I know everyone loves to kind of poo-poo on Jared Goff, and I'm one of them. I don't think that he's the best quarterback in the NFL. I don't think he deserves the highest paid contract in the NFL, but I've also seen him make all the throws that he missed on Sunday. So, better teams would have, a more well-oiled team, more offense would have done the job against our defense, and we're still figuring out who we are and what we're doing. This is kind of my point. So I'm assuming that everyone watched New Orleans and Houston last night, right?
Yes.
Well, none of us here are Saints fans, but answer me honestly, all three of you. Did any of you ever have a doubt in your mind about New Orleans doing what they did last night, coming back?
I knew as soon as there was time left, it was going to happen.
Yeah. Did any of you have any doubt that Sean Payton and Drew Brees were going to figure something out and come back?
I did. I think that's just bad. That was a bad defense. It's just bad defense at that point.
It was. Yep.
Yeah, right. At the end of the day, I get what you're saying. Yeah, you expected that. You expected that to happen. You didn't expect the Texans to just walk away and win that game just because they had a lead going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah. But they had to lead with 47 seconds left.
Yeah.
And
46 seconds left. Yeah.
And we have not yet built up that kind of trust with North Turner. And to be honest, we haven't really built that up with Ron Rivera. I feel.
Well, I'll say there's one thing to that. That didn't have to do with Sean Payton or anything. That was with Drew Brees. That was the fact that they'd been beating him deep all day long every time they played a cover two. And for some reason, they were more afraid of getting beat with a touchdown than they were of worried about stopping the field goal. They were playing a prevent defense the whole way, and it didn't make any sense.
I think the one thing, and to bring Brother Herbert back into the conversation, and the real critique of Cam and what probably has not put him in the category or keeps him out of that category that of the Drew Brees is that I feel like as soon as the ball is snapped, that Drew Brees can see one or two things immediately at times where he predetermines where he can go with the ball, and you can like heave it, you know, like all of a sudden. And I think Cam did that on that blitz play where he threw it to Curtis Samuel, is that you saw what the guys were doing, you knew the route that was going, and those guys throw the ball and then the receivers go find it. And, you know, and we just haven't seen that I don't know if it's instinct yet for Cam just yet, or it's been a while since we've seen it. But yeah, is those guys know so much. But I don't know if Drew Brees could have done that 10 years ago. We don't. I mean, it would be hard. We'd have to go back and look and see where Drew Brees was as a quarterback 10 years ago. And to see, because that was a work of art by him. He was, how about this, is Drew Brees knew more about clock management in that game than anybody out there. He understood. I was wondering why they weren't taking a timeout, how they were going to get this, how they were going to get that last playoff and then get a kickoff to something. But they had it timed down to the second. They knew exactly what they could do. And Ted Ginn, God bless Ted Ginn, caught the damn ball and did what he was supposed to, went straight down. So that was an exceptional moment. That was an exceptional end to a football game. But Drew Brees had a pick in that game. He had some rust too. There were some different things that were going on. But he did have 370 yards, right? He was 32 for 43. You know, I mean, good. I mean, he was Drew Brees. And but going back to the Carolina Panthers game plan and saying that the game plan was poor, I don't know if that's necessarily it either, because what's the best way to keep that Rams offense from generating points? Keeping them off the field. And right. and then what did you see? Christian McCaffrey. Our game is funneling through Christian McCaffrey. And if anything, the criticism maybe is that we feel like we've got to give Greg Olsen his due first before we give a guy like Curtis Samuel his due. So they will try to figure this out. It will get better. But when it comes to the strategy of the game, I do think, you know, there's some things you want back. Ron Rivera said that there's some things he wanted back in that game. We didn't look sharp yet, but there's no need to worry unless we keep losing. All right, that is the key. If we keep losing, then we can worry. So moving on, though, let's ask the question about the offensive aggression real quick. You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Be sure to call into the Cat Calls line. We're going to get to your calls a little bit later in the show. The number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Smash that thumbs up button. Subscribe. Guys, we weren't going deep. Right? That is the storyline. It's been a while since Cam Newton has pushed the ball down the field aggressively. We saw the problems with the shoulder last year. All signs say he's a full go. You heard Kevin Donnelly say that we hear these things. We hear him throwing the deep ball. He zips it out there, but we just didn't go deep. The question is, was this game plan, was this Cam, or was this a good secondary keeping everything in front of them? That is part of it. The secondary can affect the game. Here is Steve Smith talking about how to or what this was when he was talking about the receivers versus this secondary battle.
James Bradbury and Jackson are really good young players.
Yeah.
Talib is an experienced Pro Bowler, veteran.
Yeah.
Marcus Peters is an experienced Pro Bowl veteran. So what you have are young guys developing and getting hands-on experience of the game as the game goes on. And so I tried to say it last time I was on is I'm happy that Curtis Samuels is looking good in training camp and in practice, because that's what you want to see. You want to see him improve, but to expect that he was going to have 100 yards because he looked good at Wofford or he looked good on Cedar Street, I tried to allude to you. man, what you're experiencing at practice is not what's going on in a real game.
No, it's a different level.
It is a different level. And he's going to get better. But he has to take his lumps to experience and understand everything he's going through right now is a first.
Yeah.
He wasn't a wide receiver.
That's right.
At Ohio State. He was a gadget guy, special teams, and a running back. He didn't play in the slot as much as he's playing outside. See, he played in the slot in college. He played a little bit in the slot last year. Played in the backfield. But you know what he got out? You know what he got to, Sunday? He got life experiences out on the outside. Yeah. He played in the slot, but he played outside as a wide receiver. And as you say, divas, one of the reasons that it's tough and guys get lulled to sleep is it's lonely out there outside of the hashes.
And dangerous.
And dangerous.
Let me add that.
Go ahead.
To add on to Steve's points, I don't think people have a true respect of what it takes to be a number one in this league, right? And dominate it at a consistent high level every single week, right? I think people have a misunderstanding and they see talent and think that can translate into production. And there's a gap that has to be filled in. It's called experience.
Yes.
Right? Because every game, every play.
All right, so that's Steve Smith and Masim Muhammad talking about the difficulty that Curtis Samuel maybe had in finding the openings. And so here, just the last kind of point on that is there's two more audio clips. They're super short that I want to play on this. This is Cam when he's asked about can he go deep still?
Simple player.
Cam, I know on Sunday you said when asked about the deep ball, you just want to win. Today, same thing. But as a guy that plays your position, a quarterback, does it get irksome that people are even asking?
Yeah.
You can do it?
Because you're only asking me because of my shoulder. How about this? You talk to the defensive coordinator for Tampa and don't think I can throw the ball over 20 yards and see how far that gets you. How about that?
Cam getting a little testy with that. He says this is that the Bucs think that he's going to be able to throw the ball deep. Here's Ron Rivera on why they didn't go deep.
Not running and not throwing deep, is that more aberration or is that more kind of the new norm?
I think that's more about decisions he makes out there as the quarterback, as the guy with the ball in his hand who dictates where the ball goes more so than it does anything else.
So I think where I'm at on this, and I'll turn it over to Cody for one comment on this because we want to get to the Bucs game and get Gene's perspective on that. But I think I'm on this is that, we could have done maybe a little bit of job, more of a job making it part of the plan. We saw DJ Moore was obviously part of it. We saw that Christian McCaffrey was the main thrust of it, and even Greg Olsen. So you could have maybe made it part of the plan a little bit more. But if it's not there, you don't take it. And this could have been some degree the Rams keeping everything in front of them. Cody, quick comment on that, and we'll move on.
Yeah, it's a little bit of all those things, kind of as we've said. And then, I'll die on this hill. It takes time for your offense to find a rhythm. And just because other teams do it in game one doesn't mean that that's how it's going to be for everyone else. I think that I personally want Cam Newton to have a chip on his shoulder. I want everyone to doubt him and feel like the deep ball throwing days are done, so that way it feels all the better when Cam finally connects on those deep downfield passes to Curtis Samuel or DJ Moore or whoever. I'm not worried about it right now. If it's week 6 or 7 and we're still not seeing it, one, I'm furious, but two, that's when we decide to worry about this situation. But right now, I'm not worried about it.
All right, I'll ask each one of you this. Is Anthony Nessie, he gave a poll. I put it on Twitter. I did not have time to put it in the live for the YouTube, so we can get the kind of feedback verbally for the people in YouTube. What was the most pleasant surprise as a Panther fan in Sunday's opener? The O-line performance, McCaffrey's stat line, or shutting down Goff or other? Greg, go ahead on that. Which one? O-line, McCaffrey, shutting down Goff, or other?
I got to go with McCaffrey because I expect him to have a big game, but he had an all-time game. You realize if he continues these stats throughout the year, same kind of way, he's going to have the best ever running backs, season ever. No, hands down. So I'd have to say him on this one.
The third running back ever to have 1,000 receiving yards and rushing yards. Christian McCaffrey can do that this season.
Oh yeah, he can well surpass that if he continues doing what he's doing. Like he's going to go way over that. So.
For me, it's the O-line performance. Here's the poll results: 29% O-line performance, 41% McCaffrey stat line, 21% shutting down Goff, 9% other. Actually, you guys are right. McCaffrey was a beast. All right, you're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast. Go ahead and smash the thumbs up button. Let's move on to segment 5 now with and Gene. And I'll ask you this, Gene, before we even talk about the Bucs. Do you think that Christian McCaffrey could be the best back in the NFL this season?
Absolutely. The way he's playing, the way he's put his body together, if he can stay healthy, if they use him the right way, most definitely. He has the physical tools to do it.
I tell you one thing is he's getting the reps. When I get in my fantasy football leagues, everybody talks about you got to get these workhorse backs. It's about Saquon Barkley and getting the volume. I don't know if all the attention is good at times, but Christian McCaffrey certainly got the volume on Sunday, and you expected him to get a heavy dose on Thursday night. So, Gene, we brought you in long time, actually, OG of the podcast. Gene has been with us from the beginning. I tell you this, I think, Gene, we go back probably to the first season we were all hanging out back then. So let me ask you, what the heck happened against San Francisco?
Lack of execution, stupid penalties, and like you guys were talking about, it's just there's a lot of blame to go around for everybody, to be honest, whether it's play calling, offense, defense, and special teams. So it was the game you didn't want to see, but that's the game that it ended up being. So it was a very frustrating game to watch. I mean, I listened to you guys talk about it, and I've just started breaking down the game film. All 22 doesn't come out until Tuesday, so it's kind of a pain to, I have to wait till I get home from work to start, looking at film sometimes. But I've seen a lot of promising things from Tampa, and I'm actually excited for this game to face an opponent, a division rival as well, and see just how this team really stacks up.
We got a super chat from Ross Gold.
Thanks,
Gerald McCoy has that extra salted chip on his shoulder. I got a question for the Bucs fans. What's it going to be like seeing Gerald sack Winston? So obviously some assumptions going into that, but Gene, let's talk about that for a minute. For you as a fan, what's it going to be like having your team go up against one of its most beloved player of the past few years? Are there any emotions? Do you feel any kind of way? Are you concerned about him going into the football game? Where's your thoughts on this?
It's pretty indifferent, to be very honest. I mean, Joe McCoy, he made that business decision. He went over to Carolina, and hopefully he can stay healthy and have a good season. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm good with Ndamukong Suh. I thought Ndamukong Suh really played good on Sunday, along with Vita Vea. I thought they did very well against the Niners. I know there were just so many penalties. There were so many touchdowns that were called back. And that's been my gripe the preseason up till now is the penalties at the wrong time. I don't care about penalties. I know a lot of teams that get a lot of penalties and still win. I can remember the Seahawks used to get penalties all the time and still win games. But when you get penalties at inopportune times, it sets you back and it takes the momentum away. And there's so many other things that adds to it. So you talk about 8 penalties, 87 yards, and doesn't sound like a lot, but they were just at the wrong time.
Winston Winston had a Winston game, right? 20 complete, 20 for 36, 194 yards, 3 picks.
3 picks.
Any
two of them
fumbles?
were pick sixes, right?
Two of them were pick sixes, and
that's the killer right there.
The one that got me the most was the OJ Howard bouncing off of. He should have caught the ball. Number one.
Right.
The second one was a pass to, I believe it was Peyton Barber, and Peyton Barber ran the wrong route, and he ran 3 yards deeper. According to Bruce Arians, I looked at it and you can see that he wasn't where he was supposed to be. And Jameis was throwing to a spot. He wasn't like throwing to the player because that's just kind of how he plays. No excuses for it.
Sure.
Let me say that turnovers are turnovers. And, like I said, there's enough blame to go around for the whole team. But, there were bright spots, and I'm just, I'm excited for this game coming up.
Can Winston be fixed, though? I mean, there's so many turnovers. I honestly
believe Winston is a blessing and a curse. And Winston's going to have good games, and he's going to have Winston games. One thing to keep in mind, Jameis Winston is the all-time leading passer in Tampa Bay Buccaneers history as of Sunday.
That's insane.
And
he's a great passer.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people don't like him. And, I think about Cam Newton and how people don't like Cam Newton. There are people that just don't like Jameis Winston.
Mm-hmm.
And Jameis Winston wants to put the team on his shoulder and try to win games. And sometimes he does too much. But then there are other times where you get that out of him and he plays like he's supposed to play.
How can you ever win turning the ball over so much, though? Right? I mean, is that
again, and this is why I've kind of given it a do-over.
Okay.
The Bucs have not had a defense to speak of. Carolina comes in and does whatever they want normally against that defense. And this as well as I do. It's just been the way it is. And now they're trying to establish a running game. You've got a more competent head coach, in my opinion. You have a competent offensive coordinator. And I think moving forward, I think you'll see you should see a difference. Again, I'm optimistic, but again, if he doesn't make it, I don't see the Bucs re-signing him.
CK, welcome to the broadcast. I was going to ask you
two things real quick, Tony.
Right.
I know this is the end of his rookie contract, right? This is
Make or break.
Year. So there's two things you can say about that. Is one, most of the time a quarterback, if they feel like it's a franchise quarterback, is signed by now.
Right.
Do you have any feelings about why maybe they haven't done that? And two, how would you feel if by the end of the season, if he has a 9-7 season or maybe a 10-6 season and they don't re-sign, but not a great one, they don't re-sign him, how would you feel?
I want to see this team win. It's about who's on the front of the jersey, not who's on the back of it.
Okay.
And to me, it's about this team getting better, winning games. It's just been so long that this team has just been towards the bottom of the NFC South division, and it's frustrating. You want this team to win. You want this team to do well. So whatever it takes, if that means, moving on from quarterback and trying to get a better quarterback in here, so be it. I just would like to see this team win more.
Okay. So your loyalty is more towards the team than Jameis Winston, which I kind of feel maybe the franchise is because they haven't signed him yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
you've got some nice quarterbacks coming out of college next year. So something's going to happen one way or the other.
Yeah. So real fast, let me jump in here and welcome our boy CK to the podcast. Cody, how are you, sir?
What's up, guys? Living the dream, man. Living the dream.
That's what's up, man. We're happy to have you. So I'll ask Gene a question real quick, and then Cody, if you want to jump in and ask something, you're free to do so. Gene, let me ask you this, and just shorten to the point. And just honesty is always the best policy, man. What percentage chance do you give Tampa Bay of coming into Bank of America Stadium on a Thursday night and coming out with the W?
I think it's possible. I say 50%.
Okay. And if that were to happen, what does Tampa Bay do in order for that to happen? In your
cut down on the penalties, number one. Okay. They have to execute. And I was kind of mention that about the Carolina Panthers. There were plays that the Panthers didn't execute on Sunday that would have put them in a better position. A play caller can only call plays, and a player has to go out and execute those plays that are called. And I saw a couple of times where there were plays that were busted plays and or lack of communication at times. But, whether it's that team, when we'll, kind of get back to the Bucs, they have to execute. That's going to be the most important thing. And just cut down on the turnovers. I thought Ronald Jones had a good game. You saw a little bit of the running game from Tampa. You saw Peyton Barber as well. So again, there's there's opportunities out there.
For sure.
CK, what's on your mind when it comes into the Bucs game?
I mean, to be honest with you, I think I'm confident, but at the same time, I think that this is one of those games where you find it can either be a really good game for the Panthers, or it can be a kind of an eye opener as to what our team really is if it doesn't go the way we want it to go. So, I mean, ultimately, it really boils down to the execution, and I don't think that it's the end-all, be-all, but I do believe that it's a big-time game because starting 0-2 is not the way we want this thing to start out. So,
yeah, division games are important. I mean, I don't care who you're playing, if it's Atlanta or whoever. Those division games are very important. So, this game, there's a lot at stake for this Thursday night game, to be very honest, when you talk about playoff implications.
You said earlier, Gene, that you were optimistic, that there were some reasons to be optimistic. What were those bright spots you saw against what are the bright spots? Maybe if they didn't even fully manifest themselves in that game, where are you thinking that this team is catching upward momentum?
Todd Bowles as the coordinator, I loved the plays he was calling. Lots of blitzes. They were actually stopping the run, and that was a huge problem last year, stopping the run. As a matter of fact, I can go on and say that the defense was a liability. You saw times where the offense did what they were supposed to do, and all it took for the defense to go out and get a stop and get the ball back, and you can run the clock out. Last year, and in the Carolina game, since we're talking about that game, the game the Bucs beat the Carolina Panthers, they should have won bigger than they did, but the Bucs did not commit to the run. And that's always been a concern of mine in late games when you can put a team away and run the ball and control the clock. I think that's important. And just getting to see the Bucs running the ball a little bit more. The play calling was a lot better. I expect to see more out of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Cameron Braid as well in this game as well. So
Mike Evans was sick, wasn't he?
Yeah, Mike Evans was sick. That's correct.
Like half the team
I
had
think
the
he'll
flu
be
or
100. I think he's 100% now.
I heard there were like 6 or 7 players that were sick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man, that Tampa Bay locker room has always been something sketchy about that mess. It is something sketch down there.
From Mercer to this, yeah,
it must be built on the same land that soccer player was trying to build that stadium in Miami.
I think it's something with that Florida weather, the humidity or something in Tampa Bay. That locker room is just a petri dish. I don't know.
Well, I think everybody's well now, so I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Two things should help. I think 2 things should help Mike Evans' game this week. Number 1 is not being sick. Number 2 is not having to play against that handsy ass Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman is draped over everybody the whole game and only gets called like once.
Yeah.
It was insane.
And as a matter of fact, that last pick 6, he was actually draped over the running back, and he wasn't, the Ngumbawale wasn't in the running spot, or wasn't in the spot where the ball was thrown. So yeah, it's but again, this team I'm not going to blame the refs. The refs did what they did. The team just has to play better. They have to execute. When you talk about taking 14 points off the board, that's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. I mean, that's what I'm talking about, getting penalties at the wrong time. I don't care about getting penalties. That's not a problem. But when you get them at the wrong time and it hurts your team, kills momentum, that's a problem.
Yeah. Well, it's not even that. You said taking 14 points off the board. I'm assuming I didn't watch the game, so I don't know all about it. I'm assuming y'all lost points because of penalties.
Yeah. Cameron Braid had
you had two pick 6s. So, I mean, that's 28 points right there.
Yeah. There you go. And Cameron Braid had a toe tap in the back of the end zone, and then he had a walk into the end zone, both holding calls, and then get called back.
I think there were 2 block punts in this game, or 2 or 3.
1.
There were like 5 touchdowns called back because of penalties in this game. It was insane. Like, there were some plays that, like you said, and this happened to Carolina at times or something. And this is where it's hard. If you only look at the play as what was the outcome entirely, a lot of times you get a good play that's then negated by by a hold or something. And not only do you go back, but then you go back after that. And and it just really saps. You had a moment to step ahead, and not only did you not step ahead, you took 2 steps backwards, and that hurts. It hurts offenses, and we see it on every team throughout the league. And it's the team that plays clean, playing clean, not turning the ball over, right, and executing. Those are the 3 things you do to win football games. Right?
I think that the definition of that is the Patriots, right?
Exactly.
Unfortunately,
certainly not the Steelers. Certainly not the Steelers.
No.
Certainly not. I was trying to think of some of the other games that I looked that were just turnover. It was just machine. It was awful. I've heard a lot of players talking about older players, critics saying that the lack of play in the preseason continues to be reason why you see such bad play in the opening weeks. I'm wondering what that is. Now, let's go around the horn, Cody, and let's talk about this. What is on your top of your list of interest and intrigue on either side, either team going into Thursday?
Man, I want to see if our pass rush gets home. I mean, listen, all of us know about Brian Burns at this point. I say this not just as a Panther fan. I'm saying this as a scout who looked at a lot of Brian Burns from Florida State, just as someone that's trying to get better in evaluating talent from college to preseason snaps to what we saw against the Rams. Brian Burns is a effing monster, dude. You have not seen the best of him. He is so fast around the edge. And there were some plays that he kind of left on the table. So imagine once he starts to get his feet underneath him even more. Man, I genuinely believe this defense has all the right stuff to be special. And on top of that, the offensive line. Cam Newton will have a much better football game if the offensive line is able to continue to do what they did against the Rams and let them have time to pass the football and step up into the pocket. So the trenches, that's where you win the football, and that's what I'm focused on Thursday night at home with Tampa in our home trenches.
Greg, take the mic.
Well, last week I said that we need to stop Todd Gurley and we need to get pass rush, and those are the 2 things we didn't do. We didn't have a sack, and we didn't stop Todd Gurley at the end of the game, and we lost. This week, I think the kind of the same thing, that they hit on what Cody said, pass rush. That changes the entire game up. It really does. It makes your safeties better, makes your linebackers better. But this game, I think we need pass rush, and I think we need to stop, what's y'all's, I don't know why I draw a blank.
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans or Chris Godwin.
Stop Mike Evans. I think you do that. You can shut him down, which I think we're well capable of doing.
Bradbury's been historically very good against him.
Huh?
Bradbury has historically been very good against
Mike Evans,
right?
I think if we do those 2 things, then we have a really good shot at winning this game.
CK, you brought up a great point that this game is actually more important than anybody probably is giving it credit for. Maybe not anybody giving it credit for, but Thursday night game, short week, division rival. We've struggled in the past against in prime time. And, the Bucs are probably licking their wounds right now. And pretty pissed at the way that they played at home to start their season. So they're not going to roll over in this game. You don't want to fall asleep and not get a win here, start 0-2, right? So where do the Panthers go right, or what do they need to do on Thursday night to win in your mind?
It's as simple as execution for me. I mean, at the end of the day, this is an interesting game because I think it's going to show it's prime time, and we don't always perform great in prime time. But I think that when you look at the picture, the Bucs have a hell of a lot to prove. The Panthers have a lot to prove. I think optimistically, we're going to see a really good game, and you're going to see the best players on the field that they possibly can be. But I think it really boils down to which Cam Newton we see.
Go ahead and take the mic, Gene. You've talked about how you got to clean this up, right? I mean, and obviously is that you put points back on the board. You don't turn the ball over. Like we said, the recipe for success. Where is your what do you want your team to do on Thursday? What are you trying to learn about them? What's on your top of your list?
The team goes as Jameis Winston goes. And, if they can keep a clean pocket or somewhat of a clean pocket and give him some time to get the ball out, he'll be fine. Again, a lot of different weapons on this team. And, we haven't really talked a lot about the tight ends, but just the team as a whole, I think that they're very much capable of winning this game in Carolina. I mean, the weather is going to be miserable. It's just going to be like a typical Tampa summer day or summer night, where it's going to be super humid and hot and muggy. Sounds like a Bucs game to me. But I really believe that, like I said, if they can be consistent, if they can execute like they're supposed to and get rid of the penalties, I should say untimely penalties. I'm not caring about the rest of them, but those untimely penalties, I think that this will definitely be a game worth watching.
You've always been like you're a Bucs fan first, but you really are just a super football fan, and one of the reasons we've probably been friends the whole time and never have killed each other over anything is one, your personality is pretty level-headed, and you recognize things that are strengths on other teams and other players. So when you tell us, because I know that you said you were indifferent about Gerald McCoy, and tell us two things is what the hell went wrong between Gerald McCoy and the organization, because obviously this wasn't entirely just a good, easy parting. And number two, why was he never embraced in Tampa by the fan base? Or is that my perception?
And me, and please don't take this the wrong way, I don't try to count other people's money, but he got a max contract and his productivity went down ever since then. And he's just not been that same player since 2013, where he had his best season. And not to say that he hasn't made plays, but just you look at the $13 million that he would have made as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer this year, and the team had salary cap issues, and they couldn't justify trying to keep him and not take care of other spots that there were needs as well. So I think it was more of a business decision than anything, and they were able to bring in Ndamukong Suh in. And
didn't they spend roughly the same amount of money on Suh?
No, it was less.
Okay, so
yeah, it was less. It was I think it was like $10 million, I believe. Whereas Gerald McCoy was supposed to get $13 million, and when you consider how bad they are cap wise, it just and Gerald McCoy wasn't budging off that money. So
and listen, if I can kind of jump on that, I mean, if I'm being honest, I mean, if we're all making a list of our top 5 defensive tackles in the NFL, I don't think any of us are putting Gerald on that list. Maybe some of you do. But I do think that him being in Carolina is much more beneficial to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it doesn't have to be the primary pass rusher as he was in Tampa Bay.
He can be a contributor.
Right. We have a K'Wan Short, Brian Burns, Bruce Irvin, Mario Addison. We have other guys that offensive lines have to account for. And I think Gerald played well against the Rams. He was in the backfield all the time. He really thrives on those one-on-one matchups. So, I mean, he might have the best season of his career this year. I wouldn't put it past him because I feel he's in a much better scenario here in
I think that's 100% of the reason why he came to Carolina. He could have gone to the Ravens. He could have gone to Cleveland even. Yeah. And he looked at the situation, and, you've got a great defensive line in Carolina. Just being able to come in and contribute and not being the focal point of the defense puts him in a better role where he can come out and make plays, and he's not, those expectations are lowered compared to where if he would have been in Cleveland or he would have gone to the Ravens, it would have been a different situation.
Right. Now he wants to be the drummer, not the lead singer.
I do want to raise this point about Gerald McCoy, though, because while you mentioned his productivity did go down, I think in some ways it did, but he is a 6-time Pro Bowler, right?
Yeah.
He's an all-time pro. So either maybe he was getting it based on reputation, but here is he had 6 sacks in 2018. He had 6 sacks in 2017. He had 7 sacks in 2016. So the sacks have gone down each year by 1. He had 24 QB hits in 2017, the most of his career. Is there any merit? Because at least from what I've heard and what I gather from McCoy's perspective on this, he was upset that Arians made a judgment about him as a player before he even met him. Right? Is he said this several times that Arians said when he was either hired to be part of the team, or I think when he interviewed, he said that McCoy basically has lost the step. And McCoy took that personally to the effect of is that you've been watching me from the outside. You don't really know. And that is true, is that you can't be, unless you are just following one team, you barely know anything about teams, even if you're a coach, I think. And 2, I think for him is that McCoy has been on a team that has lacked, like you said, the defense has stunk. And is there any, do you think McCoy is salty because no one is taking that into account? That the overall,
you would be surprised that was like a civil war in Tampa, especially on Twitter. You had people that are like loyal to a fault to Joe McCoy and want to see him ball out and get 50 sacks.
Yeah.
And then you got the other people that the other side, and they're like, oh, well, the guy hasn't been good for this long and good riddance, that kind of thing. Again, if Joe McCoy was on this team, I'd be happy he's on this team. But, he made that business decision. He moved on. That's part of the game. That's all part of the game.
Well, he didn't actually make the business decision. Tampa did.
Yeah. So, I mean, the fact that he wasn't willing to do anything with his money, I get that. Again, like I said, I'm not counting anybody's money. He did what was best for him, and he went his way, and the Bucs organization went theirs. I do believe there was a tweet today that said that he will retire a Buccaneer. So again, it's all about business. I'm not going to get all in my feelings about it. If he has a good season, I'm happy for him. But again, when I talk about the Bucs, I talk about that defense and Sue and Vita Vea and Levante David, Devin White, and some of the other guys that are on that defense, rather than focusing on what Joe McCoy is doing.
The truth generally lies in the middle, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's probably a little of both at times, is the team, the player, injuries, who knows?
Yeah.
All right. So the other thing, speaking of injuries, give us the rundown. How'd you guys make out of the San Francisco game, injury-wise?
No injuries, actually.
All right. So does CK, Cody, you guys tell me this, did we make it out injury-free? Someone said that Greg Olson's dealing with a back something.
Lower back.
Greg Olson's dealing with a lower back injury. He did not participate in practice. Greg Little, they're hoping that Greg Little is going to come back from the concussion protocol sometime soon. And then Bruce Irvin, I believe, also did not practice, which that one doesn't concern me as much since we have Marquise Haynes and Brian Burns. Like, we have other edge rushers and Christian Miller who played some snaps against the Rams. That one doesn't concern me. Greg Olson being injured, I mean, I think Greg Bat Daddy brought this up about 2 weeks ago or so, saying, wondering what Greg Olson's health is going to be like this year. And honestly, as much as I want him to be healthy, I'm not worried about him going down. I think our offense is fine without him. It's just a benefit to have him on the field. So even if he doesn't play, I'm not necessarily worried about it too much. I want Ian Thomas to have some more reps. But, I'm
worried about it.
Did not practice.
I'm worried about it. Did you guys see the game Manhurts had?
Terrible.
It was awful.
Terrible.
So, give Ian Thomas some more looks, but we can't have Manhurts on the field playing like that.
Well, why does Ron Rivera still do that? And then, Greg.
He's usually not a liability like that. That was a total, something happened to him. Like, he may have been sick that day. Any thoughts on the injury, CK, to Greg Olsen?
Reading the article today, the positive is he said that there's nothing to be concerned about. He said, I'm playing, hands down. So, I mean, he's confident he's out on the field on Thursday. He said the biggest hurdle was just that it's such a short turnaround on this week. That's the reason that you're seeing him show up on these injury reports, whereas normally he might just have a rest day today. Whereas they were required to give out injury report yesterday and today because of the quick turnaround. Otherwise, I don't think you would have seen him on that report.
Guys, Greg, the Bat Daddy just informed me that there are over 51 people watching the stream or at some point, wow. And only 11.
You guys have a great show, though.
11 thumbs up. Well, tell them to let us know. Tell them to let us know by smashing that thumbs up button, calling into the Cat Calls line. Now I do have a question for Gene. You mentioned earlier that Todd Bowles was install. You were talking about us installing a new defense. You as well. You said you've had a head coach change, a full shift at the top, other than a GM at this point, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Where are you guys at? What's changed? Let's start with the defense, because what is the Todd Bowles defense, and what do you think they're going to try to do? Not against the Panthers on a player-to-player message, but what is their philosophical? What's going to be the identity of this defense?
It's they've gone over to a 3-4, and you'll see a lot of more man press. If you remember with Mike Smith, you saw the cornerbacks playing 50 yards off the wide receivers, and just the way that they played more. You had to think things through before you played, and it looks like the defense is a lot faster. There's better communication, and you see them more instinctive in the way they play. And that's the one thing that really excites me. I love man press. I think it's great. Just what they're able to do and who they bring on blitzes, you just don't know. You kind of have to rewind the tape to see, get an idea of who they're bringing, or, what kind of plays they're going to run. So this is going to be really exciting for me. Only because this is a new defense, and there's a lot of new things that I'm going to have to learn about or pay attention to as watching game film.
Do you have the personnel for a 3-4? And we just let you know we have historically struggled against the 3-4.
Well, I would imagine if you guys have you guys defense, I think is 3-4. You guys get to see it every day in practice. Right?
I mean, just only for the last couple months. Right?
Yeah. Absolutely. I think they do. You have players like Shaquille Barrett, Deion Buchanan, Levante David, I think will really benefit from it. You'll see a lot more of him. He seemed to be playing a lot faster in this game than I've seen him in a while. So I'm pretty excited about that. And again, you've got Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh plugging up the middle. That's a lot of beef in the middle of that line.
Greg's muted.
Yeah, I'm muted. Okay, I'm back now. Hey, just real quick, you guys got Bruce Arians in this year. What do you think that means for your offensive identity as far as the season goes? How is that going to change things? Do you think he's going to be more aggressive? Do you think he needs to be more aggressive? What exactly does this change with him mean to you?
I think what's going to be important is being able to make adjustments, number one. Being able to be unique and original in how you're running plays and not predictable. The one thing, and again, you kind of saw it in the Atlanta game, but the former head coach was pretty predictable in the plays that he ran, and he wasn't really committed to the run. So just a lot of things that we're seeing that are going to be different from last year. And again, it's going to take a little bit more time to actually see everything. I think we've just seen a fraction of what that playbook and those play calls are going to be for this season.
Okay. Do you think that'll be less aggressive? Because I feel like a lot of times, Jameis Winston, especially, his turnover ratio has to do with a lot of him being aggressive, which is not a bad thing all the time. But I think that maybe sometimes he's a little over aggressive, and that may be what. Yeah,
and you're right. And there have been times where it's been Jameis Winston's emotion. I've seen plays where the defense lets the other team go down the field. They play on a short field. special teams doesn't work out, and Jameis has to play from behind. He doesn't show the patience that he needs to, which I'm hoping that will change this year. I mean, Bruce Arians has had a lot of success with quarterbacks, and I'm really hoping that, he can actually get plays or play to Jameis' strengths, and let's kind of see what happens at that point.
Okay.
We've reached a point in the show where we pick our own team to win every game, and everybody on the panel always does this for the most part. But no, if you're heading to the game, guys, and you don't have a friend like Susan or a buddy like CK who's got to send you their PayPal information so he can pay for his tickets, then you might want to check out Vivid Seats for if you're going to the game on Thursday night. We're hanging out here in the C3 Panthers podcast. It's the time where we pick our team, but we do more. We kind of changed it up a little bit, and our guests. Well, obviously we want our guests to pick too, but we pick more than just our game. We do pick the NFC South games very quickly. Just to give you guys a heads up, Cody leads 3-0. Tony went 2-0, 2-1 last week. Greg went 1-2. The Texans, you almost had it, dude. Imagine though, it would have been a completely different story. 28 seconds or 14 seconds or whatever the hell it was. Right now,
37.
the 37.
By the way, can I just say real quick, dude? Deshaun Watson is the man.
He is the man. I'll give you that.
I personally want to sit down and talk to every one of those idiot scouts that said he wouldn't make it as a quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah,
I really want to sit down and talk with them, all of them.
I don't trust half of the evaluators in the world.
But Tony, you were saying that Gene is so awesome because he's just a fan of football, and so am I, man. And dude, I love watching Patrick Mahomes and all these other players. Deshaun Watson is a joy to watch play football, man. But
that was a fun game to watch.
You also love him because he's I do like him a lot, and I'm rooting for him. And you could have told all of us could have told everybody that he was going to be the top. And it's the same people. Don't listen to people who tell you Blake Bortles was going to be good or Mitch Trubisky. Whatever. But look, this week I'm going to start with CK. Bucs at Panthers. Panthers are 6.5 favorites. The over/under is 49.5. So we don't pick against the spread, CK. Who do you got? And if you do want to make any comments on that line, what are you thinking?
I have a hard time going against the Panthers in this one. I think it's a scary one, but it's one that if last year is any indication that it can come out to be a pretty bloody one and one that can be dominating on our part, but it also can end being a disappointing loss like last year.
So you're going Panthers?
Yes.
All right.
Did you pick your score?
Oh, yeah. What do you think the score is?
Yeah, we're picking the winner and we're picking the score for all of them.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, listen, let me apologize in advance for being so aggressive towards our guest here, but I'm going to say 35-14.
CK has the Panthers 35-14. All right, Gene, take over. You heard this is 6.5 spread, 49.5 over under. Not just straight up bet. Not against the spread. Who you got?
I've got Tampa.
Thank you.
28-21
to the entire mentality of this show.
If you didn't pick Tampa, I was going to be disappointed.
He really does love football. All right, Greg, who you got?
You know what, man? I'm going to go Carolina, and I'm going to go straight with the spread. I'm going to go Carolina 30, Tampa Bay 23.
Ooh, right on the money. All right, 30,
right on the money.
23. Go ahead, Cody.
So listen, there's a saying, don't tell a joke if you can't tell it in front of the people that it's intended for. Listen, all respect and love to Gene. My honest assessment is that this is the perfect bounce back game for Carolina. I think our cornerbacks are set to feast. I'm saying 27-13 Carolina Panthers at home.
All right. So what would you say? 27-13?
27-13.
That puts you right on the. Nope, that's short. All right, is that 40?
Just short of the over/under. Yeah,
he's short by 9.5. So it's 49.5 is the over/under. So you're taking the under.
I'm taking the under until North Turner proves otherwise. Then I'm betting the under.
All right, Tony's going the opposite. I am picking my team because that's all I do every week. I don't know. There may be one week in the history of this show that I haven't picked the Panthers. I don't know if there's even been that. No, I'm picking the Panthers. I'm taking the over on this. I think that Tampa comes out swinging. Winston has a gambler gene in him, so you guys can put up points. I think Arians will be aggressive. They're going to want to make a statement as a team and trying to bounce back as well. I think the Panthers can prevail in this. I think it's going to be 31 to actually I'm going to say 34-28 Panthers.
Okay.
All right.
And I don't want our defense to give that up. I don't really think that is going to happen, but I could see this all of a sudden being like North Turner saying, you know what, and Cam Newton saying, F all of y'all saying we don't know what the hell we're doing. We about to show you how to show these young bloods what we know. All right, so next game up in the rankings, Saints at Rams. The Rams are 2.5 point favorites. Over under is 53. We'll start with Gene. Actually, we'll keep in the same order. CK, who you got? Saints at Rams.
I'm angered to say this, but I think it's the Saints. And if I had to guess from the I feel like this is going to be an angry game, and I'm going to say that the Saints are going to win 30-21.
All right, Gene, who you got here?
I've got the Rams, and I see the Rams. This is going to be a big time game. I've got 35-28 for the Rams.
35-28. You got the Rams. What you got next, Greg?
I agree. I'm about to go the Rams too. This is a comeback game from the NFC Championship last year. It's the Rams home opener. There's a lot of emotion in this. I think it's going to be Rams, though. I think they're a great team that didn't beat ourselves. I'm going to go 28-21 Rams.
Holy cow, you just changed my entire pick when you mentioned the emotion because I completely forgot.
Big part of it.
I mean, is that Jesus, the Saints have there's a vendetta here. They are amazingly pissed off. What was your score?
You think Roger Goodell will be at this game?
No.
I
don't even know if there will be I don't even know if there'll be a referee at this game.
Well, Saints fans will claim there's never a referee at their games.
True that.
Even though there was a few calls last night that the refs didn't call on the Saints.
Man, that kicking though, that kicking one, they got screwed on the kicking one right there. I'm going to say that was not a penalty. And then,
but I will say this though, the Saints always have a ton of holding calls that never get called on.
Mm-hmm. What else is new?
Yeah, dude, they always hold and they never throw the flag on.
It happens every game, but the Saints are the ones who cry about it.
I know. I am not sorry for them.
Let me make the joke that Saints fans need to patent. Referees, who that? Who them? All right, Cody, who you got in this game?
Yeah, as much as I hate to admit it, and I do think the Saints are going to take a step back this year, but I'm going to go 28-31 Saints.
28-31 Saints. I was going to pick Rams, and I was, before I even remembered the circumstances of this game and the matchup specifically, I was going to pick the Rams, and I was actually I think I would take the under in this game, and it's one of those games where you expect everybody to put up massive amounts of points, but these defenses get home and frustrate maybe still a rusty Rams team. I think the Saints eke this out, though. I'm going to completely flip the script. I'm going to say 24-21 Saints.
Okay.
And last game is Eagles at Falcons. Philly's a 1.5 point favorite. It's a 51 over under. Cody, CK, who you got?
I'm definitely going Eagles on this one. Djax is back down there. You know, it's incredible the difference that he's made on that offense. So I'm going to say they're going to win handily, just based on how they performed against the Vikings, meaning the Falcons. So I'm going to go 28-10.
28-10 Eagles, right?
Yep.
All right, Gene, who you got?
Eagles going to curb stomp them. I'm basically going, 42-14.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
God,
Wow.
I can't wait for
Like
that
bite
game.
the curb and kick the back of your head stomp right there. Goodness
can't-
I
gracious.
just don't like Atlanta, so there's
I can't wait for
juice
that.
that score up as much as I can.
I hope that is the exact game that happens. Greg, what you got?
I got to go the same way. I'm going Eagles. I think they're one of the best teams in the NFC, and I absolutely hate Atlanta, so I'm probably always going to pick against them no matter what. I'm going to say Philly 35-17.
35-17. Cody.
Pardon my French, but the Eagles are going to come in and shit down their throats.
Oh, yeah. Ew, so graphic.
I'm picking Philadelphia 42-14.
I'm not gonna pick the Falcons now in front of all y'all. Good God!
Well, you're the only one wins if they do.
Call your shot, man.
This is bullying right here. This is
You're amongst friends. Go for it.
I'm going to take the Eagles here. I'm going to take a 27-17 Eagles, and one loss away from firing of their coach. That's what I think.
Oh man.
Jeez, does that mean Dirk Cutter would become the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons?
No, maybe not. Maybe that's the whole
Or
reason.
would it be Raheem Morris?
Oh,
There's a bunch of ex-Bucs coaches on that team, so take your pick.
All right, those are our picks. All right, look, Gene, you're more than welcome to hang out. We still have a ton of cat calls to get to in this show.
Understood, man. Hey, I want to thank all the listeners for checking us out. You know, Panthers fans are fun. I follow a few of you guys on Twitter. If you check me out at Buck What You Heard on Twitter, you follow me, I'll follow you back. But I really enjoy talking football with you guys, and I appreciate it.
All right, that's Gene Thomas, Buck What You Heard. Give him a follow on Twitter. And he was ready to go. Look, he closed that window. I'm out. It's like he gave me a window. I'm out of there. Here is. Did you guys hear this audio from Cam?
Man, I think Coach got C-Mac up for fantasy this week. I think he picked C-Mac for fantasy. I think that's what it is. Doggone Norv done picked C-Mac for fantasy, man. I should have went over and seen who he was drafting in his league. You know, that's probably why we ain't doing no deep passes, right? Because he ain't picked me for his quarterback. Now it's all making sense. Golly.
Listen to this.
I got to ask Miss Nancy about that. Miss Nancy, I don't think she can lie to me. She's so sweet. I'm going to ask her, see if he picked me up for fantasy. Yeah.
Has C-Mac exceeded your expectations?
No, a light bulb just went off in my eyes, in my mind right now. I was wondering why Coach kept calling them Wildcat plays. I'm about to go check Coach right now. Like, he was like, well, I could have scored, really, if he would have just regularly, without the Wildcat edition. He just didn't want me to score. Coach be holding me back. Doggone Norfolk, boy. Just wait. Just wait.
We got to wrap up, guys. Let's get one from that.
All right, so Cam talking about fantasy there. Hopefully Norv picked him up off the waiver wire this week and get some Cam Newton. All right, you're listening to C3 Panthers podcast. Sorry we had so much content, and this is, we're actually probably back to the point in the show where we're struggling to manage how to get through all this material, guests, and the calls. What I'm going to try to do is put some time steps in there for you guys to help you navigate the show a little faster if you're trying to get to the calls on the fly. The number's 252-228-5098. And after I figure out where I didn't even load the first call, how about that crap? Here's a call for you.
C3 Podcast. This is Ryan from Tucson, Arizona.
What's up, Ryan?
I listened to your show, and I hope that one of my phone calls got deleted because it made absolutely no sense. It didn't really pertain to fantasy football. But anyways, I might take up a few phone calls here because I heard the last show, and I heard Herbert crying for like the umpteenth time on your guys' show. I don't understand what.
Oh, God. Brother
whatever.
Herbert.
You lost.
Fine.
Point blank. So what? It's week 1. Panthers always come out the gate slow, and I think why some Panther fans are salty about this loss is because we're riding the hype train of how good this team could potentially be, but we continue to forget that this is the Carolina Panthers who come really slow out the gate every single year. But anyways, the game plan I thought North Turner had was a good game plan. Now, I really honestly feel with Cam Newton's foot and the whole shoulder operation he had, that this was solely just a game plan to just keep Cam Newton as clean as possible for week 1. To have Cam Newton go through everything that he's go through and to have him play the Rams week 1 of the regular season is a freaking tall order to ask for.
Yeah.
So the fact that he didn't use Cam Newton in the run game, the fact that Cam Newton didn't scramble on him a lot, was just Cam Newton being put in a position where he doesn't have to take a whole lot of hits. That's my firm belief that, hey, let's just get to week 2, week 3, and then we'll start opening up Cam Newton a little more once he's a little more into his form. Another thing, I had a surgery and a broken collarbone in the same month. And I do finish carpentry. For 16 years I've been doing it. And I was off for about 2 months. When I came back, my experience of finished carpentry is 16 years. And when I first came back, it took about 3-4 weeks for my mind to catch up with my body.
Yeah.
And the fact that Cam Newton has gone through the off-season shoulder surgeries, him coming back into a real-life game, it's going to take a few weeks for his mind to catch up with his body. And we all know that he makes errant throws from time to time. This is Cam Newton. But Herbert, he's our best chance of winning the Super Bowl. If you can't see that, then I don't know what to tell you. This whole I speak the truth garbage is garbage because the truth is without Cam Newton, the season's lost, period. I like what I see from the team. It's only going to get better as the season progresses. And, love the show. Keep counting. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. Great call. And I think
Absolutely love that call.
I think he wants some more.
Well, it's Ryan from Tucson again. Another thought, too, is that I've been thinking about, how annoying it is to watch somebody like Patrick Mahomes throw the ball 5 yards, his receiver catches it, and, his receiver goes 70 yards for a touchdown. And then, 15 completions later, Patrick Mahomes has 400 yards passing and 4 touchdown passes. It's a little bit annoying that these young guys are being put in such great positions to just make great things happen with good help around them. Since Cam Newton has come into the league and, for the exception of Szczynski, I just believe Mike Shula has done Cam Newton a great disservice. Cam Newton is by far, prior to Christian McCaffrey and maybe some other guys, has been our best offensive weapon. And rather than trying to go out there and see what else it is we have on offense, we're just going to have Cam Newton run 15 times and, by the way, we need you to throw for 250, 300 yards too. And I believe that's just kind of just killed Cam Newton, right? So it's good to see Christian McCaffrey in the mix, but the point that I'm getting at is they did this last year with Devin Funchess, where Devin Funchess was the main go-to guy. And so, DJ Moore being the guy that was drafted in the first round, they're trying to make him the number 1 receiver. And they're going to give him more opportunities initially than Curtis Samuel. I think that they're just trying to see what this guy can do. So far, he's done good minus the fumbles, but I just think as an offensive coordinator, you really need to put other people in positions to make plays and see what they can do. Hence, Christian McCaffrey having a big game. Like, Cam Newton's never been put in a position like that under Mike Shula. If something didn't work, it was just like, okay, we need Cam Newton to take over and and run over everybody and do all kinds of things. But now it's like, okay, Cam, we need you to do this, but we're going to make DJ Moore the main receiver this game. And we're going to make him the main receiver a couple of games, and hopefully he can catch on and become a better route runner, a better receiver, a better catcher, whatever the hell the case may be. But, it really needs to be done, man. It really needs to be done to where these guys are just putting the game plan significantly so that we can just keep Cam Newton as fresh and as clean as possible. I don't mind the check downs, the screens, the 5, 10, 15-yard completions. I don't, as long as they're sprinkling in some deep passes from time to time. I mean, it's really honestly about Cam Newton's longevity at this point. Yeah, if his arm falls off, his shoulder goes out, then yeah, we're probably going to be in the market for now a new coaching staff for a new quarterback. God forbid. But, I like DJ Moore. I think he's good. Now,
all right, great thoughts there. Moving on with more calls from the fans.
What up? Showing nothing but C3 love. It's your boy J-Dub.
J-Dub.
Been a long time coming, but I'm not going to go into all of that. I'm going to get the little bit of negative out first, and I'm going to go good. A little bit of negative is how many times you have to deal with this time clock management, timeout wasting, not getting the call-in stuff, like since day one around Rivera. But I love him as a coach. I mean, we could do a lot worse. I'm not going to go into all that, but it's just frustrating. This has been a problem for a long time. I've made multiple calls on time management and clock stuff anyway. And North Turner, some of his calls were way questionable. Throwing behind the line or sideways on when you're inside your own 10 is never pretty. I don't
Good point.
understand
That's
that.
actually a great
Everyone
point.
wants to talk about like the deflection and everything, but the call should
The
never
Rams did it and it
That's a
worked.
bad call. Let's get to the realness. Like, we lost by 3 points to the defending NFC champions. And it was a game that we all know we should have won. Whether you count the refs, whether you count our mistakes or anything, we should have won. And damn well could have. And yeah. There is no reason to be down on this team. We can have our criticisms, but a lot of Panthers fans need to pump their brakes. You're calling for Ron and Cam's head. And people are like, cut Cam now. Well, who are you going to start? That's just ignorant. West Virginia fans, I know you love Will Greer.
That's stupid.
West Virginia fans are the ones who made up toothbrush. If it was anywhere else, it'd be toothbrush. But anyway,
Did he just bust on West Virginia fans for not
there's
having
a lot of great positives come out of this, and I can just go on and on.
Was that a
linebacker duo, Shaq,
jab?
Could be legendary once they get their communication right. It could be legendary. I mean, they go on and on. I mean, there's great things to look at this. I will say this. If we make the same mistakes in the Rams game and the Thursday night Bucs game, then there's reason to panic. But until then, all y'all need to calm down, pump your brakes, and do what Dan Mills told us to do from the
I know.
beginning.
That would have been the
Keep
moment.
Pounding.
Put some ice on those cavity teeth of yours.
I thought that was what he was going to say.
Responses to the calls, Cody.
Greg, why don't you jump in there first, man?
All right, real quick, I just want to say the whole thing about what he was talking about with the Brandon Herbert calls. Look, Brandon Herbert, I'm not telling you you're wrong, and I'm definitely not trying to bash you or argue with you. I just got to tell you the way I feel. You can't blame a loss like this on one pass, which is what you adamantly did in the call. And I get you're obviously not a Cam Newton fan, which is fine. But, like I said before, the pass was in the air and it was overthrown, yes. But you can't say that if it was thrown perfectly that ball would have been caught, that he would have advanced the ball, it would have been fumbled. There's so many variables that come to that. You can't say that pass was what ruined the game. You can look at other factors and say if the field goal was made, that would have been 3 more points. If DJ Moore hadn't fumbled the ball in the red zone, that would have been probably 3 more points. You can say things like that, but with a pass, you can't say one pass ruined the game, just in my opinion. And 2, he was comparing him to Patrick Mahomes, talking about how people try to compare Cam Newton to Patrick Mahomes. I got into a Twitter argument with somebody one time. I think I brought y'all into this, Cody and Tony, where somebody was saying that if Patrick Mahomes Huh?
I think it was reverb.
Oh, well, somebody was saying that with Patrick Mahomes in 2000, that he could have Cam Newton's team and could have gone 15-1 or 16-0 easily. Well, guess what? Patrick Mahomes had a better team than Cam Newton last year, and he didn't go 15-1 or 16-0. So that's the biggest lie I've ever heard in my life. Cam Newton did that. Nobody else could have done that with that team. And if you can't recognize that as being one of the best players in the NFL because of that reason, I don't know what to tell you, man. He's going to have bad games, but he's one of the best guys in the NFL when he is 100% and he has the weapons he needs. So
I am 100% encouraging intercaller beefs on the C3 on the Cat Calls line.
You're such a drama queen, Tony.
I like it. And I like the snot, that tooth thing. Where did the tooth thing come from? You got to hold on to that, CK. Don't you worry. All right, let's keep going with the calls.
Okay, that's my ice up for tonight. But we'll touch on that one.
What up, guys? It's Killer Cam from Nashville, originally from Greensboro, long-time listener, first time calling in. Just want to let you guys know that
there he is. He's in the chat.
Really appreciate what you guys do. We really do. And
wait, who is this?
I listen to you
this
guys,
is Killer Cam.
Killer Cam.
He's in the chat,
what's
right?
up?
Yeah, I'm guessing it's the same person. Thank you for calling in, and thank you for the support, man. And the words of
Was that it? Could you play it one more time?
No, we're not done. I just paused it, so we're congratulating them. I'll hear his congratulations one more time, I think.
What up, guys? It's Killer Cam from Nashville, originally from Greensboro, long-time listener, first time calling in. Just want to let you guys know that us Panther fans really appreciate what you guys do. We really do. And I listen to you guys commuting back and forth to work. It's a lot of traffic here in Nashville, so I appreciate y'all helping me get through that traffic. But let's get down to Panther business. I just listened to this podcast after the Rams game, and I really agree with everything that you guys say, except I just want to point out one thing. We're talking about Sly, and we're talking about his missed kick, and we're like, yeah, if he makes that kick, we're a tie game. But what we didn't mention is that Zerline also missed one. Legatron missed that one too, so it was kind of even, and I didn't hear you guys mention that. So just wanted to throw that out there. But I'm excited about whooping that Bucs ass on Thursday. We're gonna come back. We're gonna get things worked out. Cam's gonna get a little better. He's knocked the rust off. He's going to get Curtis Samuel involved. Hopefully North Turner's got some better play calling. I agree with you, Cody. It was pretty vanilla. And just not good timing on the play calls. I don't know. I wish we would do the hurry up a little bit more.
We were good in the hurry up.
Drive off that. And the rest of the offense does too. We just move really well when we're in that hurry up. Even if it's not a no huddle, just a hurry up tempo. We move the ball. And lastly, I just want to say I really think that first fumble by DJ Moore changed the whole effing game.
Yeah.
I mean, we were moving the ball. We were moving down the field. We were going to get points on that drive, whether it was 3 or 6 or 7. And then he popped that ball out just like against Washington with that peanut punch coming in. And you know what? It changed the whole game. Just like the damn Super Bowl when Von Miller got that strip sack. It changed the whole dynamic. And we just can't have those turnovers. DJ's got to hang on to that ball. He's fighting for extra yards. He's dancing. Go down, homie. We know you good, but hang on to that ball. And I just want to see what your thoughts are about the DJ fumble. Just seeing if you thought it might have changed the game a little bit more than originally looked at, because it did happen early. But, man, I thought it really changed the dynamic of the momentum. We were moving the ball down the field. People were getting involved. Cam was throwing dimes. Darts out there. I mean, shit. It was a tough to watch game, but we gonna be all right. We gonna be all right. We moving on to them Bucs, and we gonna handle our business on Thursday. So y'all keep pounding. Appreciate what you do. I'll call in again, and we'll talk to you later, boys.
So I kind of want to jump on this first, man. Shout out to Killer Cam. We love you too, man. And I've told this to Tony before. Sometimes it doesn't dawn on me how many people listen to this show. But it makes my heart smile when I hear people say they're in their truck, commuting to work, listening to us. The fact that y'all love what we do, man, it makes a night of fun for us all the more worth it. So
Agreed.
we're happy that you're loving the content. And yeah, I love the call, man. Listen, I mean, I'm of the mindset that, our team right now is in just as good a place as it is if it would have won the football game. We have a talented roster. None of us are doubting that. It is time for a lot of people to pump the brakes on their expectations of coming out like a man on fire and just running shit. That's not how it happens. I have faith in this football team, specifically the talent on offense and defense, even if I'm not overly trusting of our coaches. But I trust them, and the game will be in their hands. So I'm happy about this football team, and I'm excited to move forward.
Greg, the caller brought up this is that, both teams left plays out on the field. An excellent point. Sometimes you get so zeroed in and watching your own team and focusing on what you do or don't do. You miss that. Hey, the other team made some mistakes. Jared Goff missed the third down conversion that could have killed us, made our defense look better in that. As I think as we've come back, Greg, and we've continued to say, it's not one player, it's one play, one player, culmination of a lot of events that go through. Now, with that being said, how do you feel about the momentum change of the DJ Moore fumble? I agree. I think if Carolina gets ahead in that game, Cam Newton feels good. It helps build his confidence a little bit or a lot of bit there. And you're playing ahead against a Rams team who struggled offensively in the first half and really throughout the game, honestly. That was a game changer. Ron Rivera always says it comes down to one or two plays, and a lot of times those one or two plays are turnovers. We did come back, but, boy, that DJ Moore fumble kind of sucked the whole wind out of the place.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. Thing I can say about that, though, with like the Goff not hitting the third down and the missed field by Zerline, I get that. Those are factors in the game. Here's the difference is we control our mistakes. We don't control their mistakes. Like their mistakes are either caused by us playing really good defense or them just having a mistake. We don't control that, though. We control our mistakes by discipline and playing executing the play correctly. So I can't look at their mistakes as factors into why we would have or wouldn't have lost the game. Right. I can look at what we did because all we can control is what we do. So for me, it's a little different. But no, I get that. There are opposite points or sides to it, and there are factors that go into the game that really change the whole demeanor of everything. I think if DJ Moore didn't fumble that ball, it looked like we were driving down to score at least 3 points in that drive, and that would have changed the dynamic of the game because the score always changes the dynamic of the game. If we'd only been down 3 points at half instead of 10 points at half or 13 points at half, whatever we were, it would have changed the way we came out in the second quarter. So it always changes. That's why it's hard to say one play or one thing affects the way the game goes because it's very fickle. It's ever changing. It's whatever is going on happening at the moment is the way you're going to react to it.
And real quick,
I'm blame it on one thing.
Yeah, and I just want to piggyback on that real quick. We have to be a team that doesn't kill our momentum. That whenever a mistake like that happens, we have to be able to bounce back and roll as if nothing ever happened. And Tony and I talked about this after the game. We're such a momentum football team. And it's like when you take that away from us, the wind just comes out of our sails. So I'm looking forward to a scenario where something like that happens and we're able to recover from it fast and continue to move the ball. That's what has to happen.
CK, one of the things about that play, we keep saying the DJ Moore fumble. He fumbled. In one way, he did fumble. On the other side, a guy made a hell of a play for the Rams, right? And yes, is DJ's fight maybe for inches when he can make a business decision to go down. But, boy, he laid a peanut punch on that ball, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, and I said it in my call after the post game. I mean, I don't know that anybody else on the team would have held on to that ball. And if you look back at the play, I mean, it wasn't the Redskins game. The Redskins game, he could have gone down about 5 different times before he got that fumble. He literally made one guy miss, and that guy happened to come back and punch the ball. That was how that happened. It wasn't like he was spinning.
Contacted it just.
He had that ball high and tight. I mean, there was nothing that he could have done differently, in my opinion, aside from maybe holding it a little bit tighter, possibly. But I mean, that's. I think C-Mac would have fumbled that even.
Yeah.
Just my
Yeah,
personal.
it was a great defensive play.
Yeah. And you know, but those things do change. You want to beat a Rams offense. You want to put them. You got to make them one dimensional. Play from behind. So yeah, that hurt. It was a game changer. It hurt early. We're still in it though. We just couldn't put any points up.
I think the big thing was after the interception by Bradbury, we went 3 and out, and I think that was our chance to really take over the game.
Yep. No,
and we didn't take that chance.
And that is and that's when people started leaving the game right then. All right, you're listening to C3 Panthers podcast, number 252-228-5098.
Fellas, what's going on? AJ from Blaine County.
What's up, AJ?
We gave that one away the other day, and it sucked, but some good things to take from the game. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. Offensive line did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I'll say that. Cam moved well in the pocket pretty much the whole game. McCaffrey, man, you can't say nothing more about that. I mean, speaks for itself. Really looked good, especially in the first half. We just gave them the game. I mean, just gave it to them. Fumble, bad lateral throw. Looked like it kind of slipped out of Cam's hand on that one. Interception, that sucked, but it was what it was. But I'm sick of hearing so much blame going to Cam about how he sucks and he gave this game up and he didn't throw deep. I have not heard one person say, and in my opinion, unless I'm looking at something completely different, the Rams defense did not change the whole game. They played deep coverage, a lot of times cover 3. They kept the ball underneath. That's why McCaffrey went the heck off. Everything had to go underneath, and they swung to the ball to make the tackle. It was game tackle. I mean, it makes sense. If the deep ball's not there, if the man's not open deep, you don't throw it deep. People need to shut up. It's week 1. And let's enjoy some football and a win Thursday. This Tampa's going to be hurt.
There's two comments in the chat room that I think are related to this. And Ken D has been making this comment since the game and since our post game, and that is that while the offensive line may have been had a better than expected game, that defense was not. It was still they were getting a pass rush, and so the longer balls are harder to develop when you have a team that is effectively putting pressure on you. Now, and then the other comment that was in the chat room was, I lost it at this point. But guys, I forgot what it was. But there was somebody. Oh, I know what it was. It was Carlton Davis, and Carlton Davis, because he ended that call on the positive note. Let's go get some of Tampa. Is he said, let's not lie here, guys. Is that everybody gonna look good against Tampa? That's how it goes. Hey, so I like that call. I like that comment too. All right, next call.
What's up, guys? Dan from New York. Just trying to make a couple points real quick going into Thursday.
What's up,
About
James?
the fan situation first. Stadium was empty. It looked empty. It was hot. I know there was talk of possibly moving the stadium out of Charlotte with Tepper. Maybe that's something we need to do. Maybe that's something we should think about going forward. Or maybe some renovations to make it a little shadier. Maybe enclose it some so that when it is hot and it is September and our team needs us to be at the games, we can be there and we can be loud and we can be hostile. My second point, I want to address Joey Sly. A lot of people last year were talking about Graham Gano. As soon as he missed that extra point, we were trying to drag him out back, shoot him, take care of him right then and there. We need a new kicker. We're going to Sunday. He misses his first kick. That should be expected. and then he doesn't have the experience to convert or even give us a chance on the onside kick. I said this last year. I said Gano is the best thing we had. He's literally the third best kicker in football, and we were so quick to write him off.
No.
Now we have a young, inexperienced kicker,
point.
and I think we're going to see that. My final point is a lot of people talking about we're going to go into Tampa Bay and just kick this team's ass. But if you ask me, the Panthers haven't shown me anything that they didn't show us last year. We're in a tightly contested game against one of the best teams in the NFC. We make a lot of mistakes. Cam's inaccurate. And we lose by 3. If you look at those 8 games we dropped at the end of last season, they were all close games, 1 possession, 3 points. The team hasn't showed me much more, anything different from what it showed me last year. So I think we need to take a second and maybe not get so hyped up on our performance. Anyway, thanks, guys. Have a good one. Keep pounding.
Thanks for the call, man. Part 1 of the call, guys. Has anybody been to a game in a dome and on this panel?
No.
I've never been to an indoor game.
I hope this doesn't change any opinions of me, but I do need to let you guys know I was born in Atlanta, and I lived there for
Cam.
Yeah, I lived there for 13 years of my life. So I've been to the Georgia Dome before.
Okay.
And I mean, listen, there's a reason why all these stadiums, when they're being built, they're not building open stadiums anymore. They're all building domes.
Right.
So much easier to pass a football in a dome where you're not having to worry about weather. That's why David Tepper built that bubble. And I do want to put this out there because it needs to be said. There is a stadium dispute in the Carolina Panthers' future. David Tepper has already talked about wanting a new stadium. It's going to happen. It's not if it's going to happen. It's when it's going to happen. David Tepper is banking on bringing the Super Bowl to town before that happens as a part of the negotiation process. But I'm telling you, Charlotte will be embroiled in another owner stadium BS dispute. That's inevitable. I promise.
My question about people going to this that have seen a game in the stadium is one with the retractable roof, like the Cowboys have. Is if the roof is open, or is it climate controlled? Ultimately, are these domes like?
Oh yeah, especially the brand new ones, like the one in Atlanta,
Minneapolis.
Yeah, those things are spaceship.
Then I'm all for it. I am telling you this. I said it on the post-game show. Sorry, people of Charlotte. Your tax money has got to pay for this. It's got to. It has got to. We will pay the hotel fees. I won't pay the hotel fees because I'll just stay at Cody's on Cody's couch. But that shit was brutal. And I'm telling you this, that game would have been a lot more enjoyable in the freaking AC.
That's why I don't go to games till October, man. Yeah. Well, here's the thing is, I know with David Tepper coming in, he's one of the richest owners in the NFL, and he's going to want to bring a Super Bowl to Charlotte, or to wherever Carolina's playing at that point in time. I don't think the Panthers are going to move out of Charlotte simply because it's so close to the border, and we have the whole 2 states, 1 team thing. There's nowhere else close to that you can put a team and represent 2 states. I mean, it's 25 minutes away from the border, if that, you know. But 2, I don't think there's going to be a Super Bowl there until they have a dome. With all the new stadiums that are coming out, they're not going to have a game as big as the Super Bowl not being an amazing, $1.2 billion dome like the black hole they're building in Las Vegas right now, or, the one in Atlanta or the one in Minnesota. So I think David Tepper is going to eventually put one in Carolina. I think it's going to be very soon, in the next 3 to 5 years, going to be announced. There's going to be a dome. If he wants to move the team, go ahead and move it on to Winston-Salem, and I'll go to every home game. No problem. It's only an hour north. So, but I think it's going to stay in Charlotte, and I do think we'll definitely have a dome very soon. So.
Michael Wade in the chat room says, if you aren't elderly and you're not going to the game because it's too hot outside, we don't want you. Look, actually, there is some merit to that. I like that energy, though. Tony suffered through as Auntie Cam. I wore a headscarf, hat, regular scarf and the name black jersey, and I wore it the whole time. I asked Susan. I didn't take that sucker off. So I get that we do need to soldier on. But if you've met the PSL owner of in Charlotte, half of them are owned by companies. The other half, well, maybe not that many, but I'm telling you, those people retreated to the. We were in the club level, and you can retreat to the AC. Anytime a bad play happened, Mugs were like, "Gotta get to the AC. Gotta get to." It was so hot. All right, CK, I want to ask you about the second part of the call. Big words about Graham Gano, a Graham Gano supporter. I'm admittedly one of those people that had the pitchfork last year, but I would say I've had the pitchfork with Graham Gano before last year. What do you think about the comments on Graham Gano being the best we got?
I've personally been a Graham fan. I'm not
cinnamon graham crackers or original. Oh, you meant Graham Gano. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, but no, I do want to point out something. I find it a little bit humorous, and me and Brandon Herbert haven't gotten any words crossed on Twitter or anything like that. But he puts on here, he's like, he's talking about Sly missing the field goal. He's like, our kicker is fine. It was his first NFL game. How is he coming to the defense of this guy, but he's treating Cam like he treats Cam?
Agreed.
Anyway, sorry, Brandon Herbert. I had to call you out on that, man. But I do feel as though that I don't know. We'll see what we got out of this guy, but I think Gano is going to have the job back next year.
No way. No way. Sly, I think first is that we realized once Sly hit the next ones, he hit one over 50. He made all his extra points. He didn't get mentally broken by that first kick. That's what we've seen. We have seen that happen to kickers in Tampa Bay. Ken D says is look at the hell what's going on in Chicago, right? There's some bad juju going around. Graham Gano is that if Graham Gano is our kicker, I will support him. I think the team said a lot by putting him on IR for the year. I think Sly showed a lot in that game, a lot of mental fortitude or toughness, and on top of that, he is booting 70-yarders in practice. I didn't hear Graham doing that often. Now, he did have a hell of a leg. The other point that I was going to make in reference to, oh, shit, it's fleeting. He said the third point was Graham Gano, kicker. That's it. That's all I got for right now. Is the third point, I guess, was ultimately that this team needs to find ways. And I think this is a good point by the caller, is that we haven't seen the team find ways to win. We haven't seen this team find ways to win. And they have to. We heard Ron Rivera maybe in 2016 they were talking about, or 20. I can't remember what year. It might have even been going back in 14 before we had is that we need to learn how to win, how to learn, win the close games, not have it go wrong for us in that point. Oh, I know what it was about the kicker. I don't think I don't hold any kicker not getting an onside kick against them.
Right.
And I don't think
in the first game.
Sebastian Janikowski, one of the longest kickers in the history, one of the most successful kickers in the history in the NFL, has never converted an onside kick in his 20s. Never. Right? So I was actually happy that the ball rolled. Sometimes they just kick it and the guy goes, whoop. So, all right. So, ways to learn. Thanks for the call, though. Lots of good points. We like to hear the different perspectives on the show, other than, we don't want to shout into an echo chamber here.
Evening, guys. Rich here in London. I'm not going to go over the game too much.
Guy.
As I say, frustrating when I phoned in the other day, and I don't think much has changed. Anyway, I thought I'd phone up with something slightly different. So, it was a one-score game. We had the ball after the Bradbury interception, and we could have maybe done something with it. So unfortunately, in Britain, I was only watching the highlights, and Bradbury intercepted it, and I jumped up and down, expecting the red zone highlights to show me us scoring a touchdown, but to no luck or anything else like that. And before I know it, they're coming back the other way. Anyway, I had a little look. Since 2015, our record 6-10, 11-5, 7-9. Okay, so I went back today and I checked how many games have been won and lost by one score. Okay, 6-10 season, we won twice by one score, and we lost 8 times.
Oh,
if
God.
you take that out, that season, 4-2 are games that were decisive. Okay, so 4-2, and yet we were 6-10. One score games accounted for 2 wins and 8 losses. 11-5 season, 8 wins by one score, but only
Finding a
one
way
loss.
to win.
In our 11-5 season, we were basically 3-4 in decisive wins, and then last season we were 3-7, so 3 wins by one score and 7 losses by one score for a 4-2. So actually, our 2 losing seasons of 6-10 and 7-9, we actually had a better win-loss record by decisive scores, so 10 points or more, basically, or 9 points or more, than we did in the 11-5 season. I think ultimately we're a coin flip team. I know that sounds silly. I mean, we seem to have the ball all the time, going for the win, or we've got the lead and then we lose it.
We're the cardiac cats.
I think until Ron goes, that's just going to be the way we are. You know, where was the deep pass this weekend? Yeah, it's all just very frustrating at the moment. That this week felt just like all of last year. I'm going to actually stay up and watch it on Thursday night, because it'll be one of the few times, apart from when I see the game in London, that I get to actually see us live. So we'll see how we go. Anyway, guys, hopefully that gives you something different to mull over. And as ever, I love the work. I hope your face has recovered from the sunburn, Tony. And good to see you both live. That was one of the few times I can ever see you live on YouTube on Sunday night. But maybe if you do it again, I'm there. By the way,
We lost. All right, so on that. Oh wait, yeah, because I don't think he called in again. Now, just based on that, the 2 calls are interrelated, guys, right? And that is winning. You got to win teams. And this is how it is. You look at all teams throughout the league, is that generally it is a lot of times there are a lot of one-score games. And and teams either find how years to put them all together. It's injuries, execution, and winning close games. That's the thing, you know, that derails teams. So look, we're well familiar with his cardiac cats, guys. So all right.
Yeah. I just want to jump in and say real quick. I want to ask a question to everyone in the chat and everyone here in the hangout. How many of are you confident if Carolina has a 20-point lead? How many of you are confident that we're going to maintain that lead through the rest of the football game if it's the third quarter? I know I'm not. I haven't done for the past 2 years. No, man, and that's embarrassing, man. We have to learn how to come from behind, build momentum when we lose it, but also when we have the lead, put our foot on their throats, man. Yeah. I'm tired of this team letting teams back in, even at home, man. It's embarrassing. We have to be better at that, and that's 100% on the coaches all the time, every time.
All right, next call.
What's up, C3? It's Nova Black. You guys know me. I got to call in to give y'all my takeaways. You know my take on this game. I'm trying to speed through here. I think I'm going to start with the Panthers pass rush. Yep, that bad boy nasty. You know, we was getting to the quarterback, man, and you know you can't talk about the pass rush without talking about what made that pass rush, what helped that pass rush make that pass rush. You know what I'm saying? What it was is that the secondary covered lights out. I seen that those boys played a pretty good game, you know, out there, even though we played mostly in the 4-3. It was pretty good. I was surprised to see Dante Pope, like, one-on-one, guy getting in the backfield almost every play. As soon as the ball is off, he there. Guys, I seen the offensive line. They did a really good job at opening up the running lanes for Christian McCaffrey, who is the best running back in the NFL. I don't care what nobody say. Out of the 300 and some yards we had, the dude had over 200 some yards from the line of scrimmage himself, passing, catching. Passing, catching, same thing. Running, you know what I mean. Cam Newton is definitely excelling at quarterbacking. We're talking about just quarterbacking, not running under Noah Turner and Scott Turner. I've seen some good decision making and all that good stuff. But let's face the facts, Cam Newton was a little bit rusty, and all the problems that you see with Cam Newton is just going to come along and clear up as the season go on, because you know he'll get all the rust off and all that good stuff, because he ain't got no playing time, you know, during the preseason and all that good stuff. Right now, we got some live fires. I'm going to move forward. Again, Cam Newton a little rusty. He was slow on a couple reads. That interception that, you know what I'm saying, he had was Greg Olsen hitting him down the seam like how we did when we did that comeback win against Seattle that one time. Yeah, pretty much that play, but Cam was a little slow on that read. Now, we could talk about the defense struggling against the run in the second half. I think those guys brought in guys with some fresh legs, you know, and with the high tempo of the daggone offense, our guys couldn't really, was getting tired and all that and wasn't able to really substitute. Let me speed through this thing a little bit more. Our offensive line was just about average in pass pro, you know, due to mistakes and miscommunications. And why every time Cam didn't hit, Chris Manhurst is at fault? I mean, every single time the guy defenders goes untouched and Cam get busted, it's a daggone, it's Chris Manhurst. Now I'm running down to my last few seconds. I'm going to say it was several coaches making mistakes. Coaching mistakes that led to big plays, wrong formations on the different types of downs, and our linebackers need to tighten up a little bit on their run fist. Everybody keep pounding, and that's all I got for you.
No, that's not all he's got for you, because Nova Black comes strong, and I think he's coming again.
Okay, C3 is Nova Black again. I don't think I was able to get all that done in 3 minutes. But, hey, guys, listen, again, like I said, the miscommunication on our offensive line, you know, really made them average in pass pro. Cam ain't really got too many pressures and all that. If you really look at the whole game, it was some, you know, some pressure came from both tackles, couple pressures from the daggone guards, and a couple pressures from the center. But it wasn't that big deal, you know. It wasn't as bad as the many years before, and the coaching mistakes and stuff like that led to big plays. And then our linebackers, like I said, they need to tighten up on their run fits and everything like that. Other than that, man, I think overall the Carolina Panthers were the team on that field, and we shot ourselves in the foot due to many mistakes. Which will clear up next week when it comes to the Bucs. I look forward to an outstanding game deep, Curtis Samuel, and all that good stuff. Overall, I'm excited, even though we lost by 3 points against the Rams. When was the last time you guys seen us put up almost 30 points in the opening game?
Opening game.
With that being said, y'all keep pounding, and I'm out.
Boy, Nova Black might be the most valuable player in the Catcalls.
He's got that chuck down hype, man, is what it is.
He knows so much about our team. Like he has got his finger on the pulse of stuff. Boy, I just want to watch the game with him.
Yeah. Like I said, I want to announce a game with him.
Yeah.
He said he'd do it with me too. Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. All right. Any thoughts on the Nova Black drop?
Nova hits the nail on the head all the time. I mean, that's why we love listening to him. I mean, all of his points are 100%. And listen, it goes back to the Cam thing. It takes time. It takes time. Those missed passes to Greg, we've seen him make those throws 1,000,000 times.
Right.
That's why I'm not worried about this. It's nothing to be worried about. And I do think our pass rush is exceptional. We need to put up some more numbers. And I'm proud of the offensive line. And I was a skeptic of this offensive line, particularly the left side. And they did pretty well. And yeah, Manhurst has to go. Manhurst, it's apparent to everyone, man. Manhurst.
He had a really cruddy game. God.
Red and white, let them know.
All right, so guys, I'm dropping the straw poll link in from the poll we talked about earlier. We talked about our Twitter poll. If we're going to compare the YouTube comments voters to the YouTube voters. And now let's keep going. We got a couple more calls to get through, and we've got some ice up picks. Still work to be done.
Hey, Panthers podcast, how y'all doing? Y'all
My
know
man,
who this is. The G Cavassier.
Yeah.
Hey, Cody, I just read your little Twitter message saying that, the show's about to be on like in 2 hours and give you your take on the game. To me, really, that game, honestly, we shot ourselves in the foot. We really did, and say the same shit that Ron Rivera always says, missed opportunities. He says that shit every damn, I swear.
Yeah.
Missed opportunities. Now, with the field goal miss and DJ Moore fumbling twice, it's just like, my opinion, it's nothing really all that serious to me. I lost $10 on that game, but if you guys really think about it, man, the reigning NFC champions, they only beat us by 3 points. That's something. That's something nobody's really talking about. But, an L is an L, But to me, I want to see that one young dude out of Alabama, is Christian Miller, whatever his name is. I want to see, Bruce Irvin in the lineup. He was hurt and everything like that. Now, if Bruce Irvin was playing, would we have won? I don't know. But I tell you what, that son of a bitch can blitz, man. That dude got speed. That boy can blitz. I remember he was in Seattle, man. That dude could blitz his ass off. He was blitzing in daggone Oakland and in Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? And he can cover pretty good, too. So that's my take on it. I'm not really upset or anything like that because it's only the first game. There's 15 games left, like I said, after the game when I called y'all. So I'm still saying we're going to win the Super Bowl. And always remember, y'all, keep pounding.
All right, man. Good call, man. Keep going.
Hey, Professor Cody, new caller, Special K, appreciate it, bro.
What's up, Special K?
Nobody expected us to win against the LA Rams, right? An FSC defending champion, so we didn't expect to win. But the clock management, dude, it sucked. The clock management sucked
And
once
we just
again.
got a clock management
Cam
consultant.
Newton, Coach Rivera, they can't manage the fucking clock. All right, so the speaker doesn't work. Manage it. Timeout again? Come on, man. Fucking pull a play. Don't just let it happen. Take a damn 5-yard penalty. Pull a play. You could do it, Cam. Their clock management has sucked for years. Come on, dude. Pull a fucking play. That's what you got to do. Appreciate it, bro. Cody rock, man. Thanks. Bye.
Right on, man. He's right there. We hired a time management, clock management coach in the offseason.
No. We didn't hire one. We just promoted one of the other coaches and gave him the extra title. He's still doing his job. He's given the title.
Yeah, but
to do that.
Realistically, how hard is it to deal with clock management?
That is
seriously,
awesome.
You know how much time is on the clock. That blows my mind. Give a water boy that. Remind me we're down to 30 seconds, that's one job. Oh, kills me.
It really came to Chase Blackburn's crew, and they were good, but Manhurts was missing on that play. That was the real dagger. Thankfully, our punter booted the shit out of it afterwards, and it was okay.
So I will say this. Well, let me just say this real quick. We're one of the only teams in the NFL that doesn't have the game clock at eye level with the quarterback. Cam has to look up to the second row of the stadium to see the clock. How hard is that to fix? Put it at eye level like every other NFL quarterback uses. I don't understand why this hasn't happened yet. And then to top it all off, Ron Rivera is terrible at clock management. Then the helmet isn't working for Cam. It's just a shit show, man. It's so embarrassing.
I don't understand how defensive coaches aren't good at clock management. To me, that seems why is it that offensive coaches know how to get the most out of the clock? You would think a defensive guy knows how to drain it down.
I'll give my theory on that. If I'm being honest, I think that a defensive coach, what they want to do is keep their defense off the field So they're not going to be rushing to the line. They're going to be trying to drain that clock as much as possible to give their defense the best possible outcome. I'm not saying it's the most effective way, but I think that if I was Ron Rivera and my entire existence was being a defense that, that had to be on the field after a short, 3 and out, if I can extend how long that 3 and out takes, then I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that happens.
That makes sense.
But I mean, once again, we saw what happens with the Ram last year. I mean, they had a great offense and their defense on paper should be great, but because they're so quick to run their plays, their defense gets gassed there towards the end of the game, and it's just kind of a open season on their defense. So.
Well, that has been the argument for Carolina by Rivera to say that's why we don't go up to hurry up early in a game because it puts pressure. Yeah, I think that there's a difference between 2-minute hurry up and up tempo.
I agree.
And to go in no huddle doesn't mean you have to go fast, super fast. It's just it hurts them defensive substitutions. It lets you develop some speed and some momentum. And I think Cody's right. I mean, I'm kind of with you. I think if we're in the Chip Kelly era where he's trying to actually get like 20 more plays in the game than everybody else, where we're getting 75 plays and the Eagles are trying to get 102 plays or something like that because they believe that statistically lands more offense. That can be problematic for a defense, particularly after a 3 and out. But, our defense was pretty gassed in that game, and we were taking our fucking time.
Yeah, and I have no problem with moving the ball slow if you're winning first downs effectively. But our offense typically doesn't do that, so I don't know why we're not running a more hurry-up, up-tempo offense. Put Cam Newton in situations where he thrives. We've always known that he thrives in up-tempo situations. But Ron Rivera just refuses to do it. He's, cutting the crust off of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is the most experimenting Ron Rivera is willing to do. So it's embarrassing.
All right, I think this is, was it the last 46412, CK?
Yes.
Okay, so I think this is the last call of the night.
How you doing? This is Antoine calling from the A Zone 3 ATL. Keep pounding. Hey, y'all all aware that we paying Cam $1,500,000 per game. So how y'all just brush off these, problems and errors and plays just beyond me. Let it soak in a little bit. He ain't been good since 2015. I'm a black man. I love him to death. But sometimes you have friends that you won't take to work with you. Greg Olsen hurt, wasting money under the cap, $10 million a year last year. Cam Newton money can be converted over to the defense. And just like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we can win a Super Bowl with a strong defense and a subpar quarterback. Christian McCaffrey, phenomenal. Curtis Samuel, just like a teaser, like a girlfriend that teases you. She got the business, but won't give it to you. All right, keep pounding one.
Good call. Good call. I like the different take there. There are some things to the call, and that is, Joey in the post game said that Greg is he likes Greg, but looking old and slow. I think, guys, and this is a kind of a question I didn't want to handle at the end of the show, but how are we to a point right now where Panther fans who are even strong Cam fans are on the edge of being shook by him, right? Are we inching towards that moment, or do you guys feel like us Cam defenders have plenty of ammo left in our defense?
I'll let you guys jump in first on this one. I'll go last.
Okay. Well, I'll start off real quick then. I think that we're at the point where if we see a steady decline and we don't see, well, not even a steady decline, if we don't see improvement, then we may start to get to the point of, he's 31 years old, Cam?
30.
We may start to get to the point of,
30, yeah.
30, okay. We may start to get to the point of where it's time to start to look towards the future. And maybe they were with the Will Grier thing, but I think that what they learned by Will Grier drafting him was Cam's not that easy to replace.
Nope.
He may not be right now the best quarterback in the NFL or an elite quarterback by how he's playing, but that doesn't mean he's easy to replace. Our entire offense is built around him. I think that if we go through this year and we finish 6-10 and Cam throws for 2,500 yards and 15 touchdowns, then maybe it's time to start to worry. I think that'll put us in the position that I hate saying it, Tampa Bay fans are in with Jameis Winston. And I think when we get to that mindset and that mode, then we need to really start thinking about the future.
CK.
So.
I personally believe if there's ever a moment, even in the next 5 years, we let him walk out the door, the next year we're going to regret it.
Or maybe the next decade.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, I mean, I just can't see how Panthers fans can come from where we came from after Delhomme, going through what we've gone through with these quarterbacks that were supposed to be the next face of the franchise, and still think that Cam Newton wasn't the answer and still isn't the answer. He has been the only thing that has kept us in the talks of why, being contenders. Now, this year, I think we've put more talent around him, and I think that it's no longer just to focus on Cam, and that's maybe where this talk starts to come in. Do we need Cam? But I think the moment he's out that door, if he misses one game this season, you're going to see immediately why we needed Cam. And you can't take those games last year and try to put that into that same category, because you were facing a Falcons team that was already eliminated from the playoffs. You were facing a New Orleans team that didn't have their starters for the most part on the field. I mean, until we actually see a situation this year where Cam's not on the field, we can't really I don't think you can actually make a judgment call until you see what we are without him.
I don't think we can reach that precipice with Cam until his body doesn't work anymore.
Okay.
Like, until it doesn't work at all, almost, that's what it's going to take for me to be that, because I think that CK brings up the best point is that we can talk about all this of what Cam has with the weaknesses at times or this and that, but life with Cam is better than life without Cam. And yes, you can point to other quarterbacks that have made it, but I can point to 100 quarterback stories that have been complete failures, from highly evaluated players ranked in the top 10, drafted in the top 5 in the first round, to fourth round picks trying to develop. Yes, there are Cinderella stories in the world where you get Kirk Cousins or you get Tom Brady, or even a Drew Brees, but Cam Newton is. And Cody, you asked me how I was feeling about the game when I got to your house before the game. And right. I told you I was secretly optimistic. Like, I didn't want to come out and just say, like, hey, I feel like we can really just straight up beat the Rams. But I thought we did have a real chance to beat the Rams. I won't scared of them. And I tell you this, is I felt that way about every team since 2011.
Yeah.
Since Cam Newton has come to town, I always feel like we got a effing chance to win. And and I tell you, without Cam, God, man, do you guys remember that desert? And look at teams around the league that are dying to find a cornerback. And before we elevate a Sam Darnold or Goff or some else to the pantheon of quarterbacks before they deserve it, those guys are still projects. They haven't earned their salt worth of shit either yet. It's hard to get a success, and Cam, even mediocre Cam, is better than 90% of people.
100%. And listen, shout out to Antoine Henderson in our chat, because I'm definitely still in the term Camanites. I am a proud Camonite. I have no problem saying it. But no, it's time for me to shut some people up. Carl D said I might as well not even say nothing because they know what I'm going to say. Listen, man, every day that you go into work, whatever you do for a profession, you have to earn your living. You have to prove that you're worth your job every single day. I'm a Panthers fan first and foremost. Do I believe in Cameron Jarrell Newton? You bet your ass I do, boy. You bet your ass I do. But if there's ever a time when I feel that Cam Newton has reached the top of his potential and that potential isn't enough to bring us to the promised land, then yeah, it's time to move on. It's time to move on. Do I fear that that is something that's going to happen? No, I don't. But if ever I feel Cam Newton is the cause of our problems, then I have no problem saying it's time to move on. I have no problem saying it. And of course, Brandon Herbert will never hear me say that. He probably checked out forever ago. But I believe in Cam Newton, and I'm not sorry about that. I know the kind of talent that he represents, what's possible for him, and I'm on team number one.
All right. I like it. Team number one. Actually, I'm a mama bear when it comes to Cam. Number one fan. Great number. All right, guys. That was Cat Calls. It's been a fantastic show, guys. The number's 252-228-5098. We're going to do the post-game show Thursday night. It's going to be a late one, but will be hanging out and being around to this. Guys, we got to get up and ice some mugs up real quick. We're going to let CK or Greg go first while I load up my pick.
Can I go last?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool.
All right, CK, you got somebody for us?
Yeah, and it's a bit old, but I mean, I'm going to bring it up just because I don't know why it kind of went past my my reading up on Gerald McCoy and everything. But, when Gerald McCoy signed and he showed his frustration with them giving away Ndamukong Suh, giving away his number to Ndamukong Suh, obviously a lot of people, especially Tampa Bay fans, were, not really understanding his frustration or anything like that. But one of the things that I heard was Warren Sapp's tweet saying you didn't take your team to you can't have that anger because you never took your team to the playoffs. And I'm like, how in the hell is Warren Sapp saying this when he knows damn well that it's not one person on that D-line that's going to change the outcome of a game?
Right.
Like, I mean, at the end of the day, you were a great defensive player, but to call out Gerald McCoy, who's one of the staples of that Tampa Bay defense for years, and to say that he didn't take them to the playoffs, that is just asinine. And all I've got to say to him is ice up, son.
Yeah, well done. And he always stick his foot in his mouth, right? And tell him not to send vibrators to ladies or whatever. And, all right, Cody, what you got for us?
So I kind of mentioned this to the guys before the show, or kind of. So 30 minutes before our show is set to go live, I see a New York Times article, and it's more news about Antonio Brown.
No.
Never a day goes by without news with Antonio Brown. Somebody asked me this, Cody.
Hearing about Antonio Brown, but
a friend of mine asked me when I got to Charlotte, he said, have you been following the Antonio Brown thing? I said, yeah. But I also don't know if I've missed something because I haven't followed it in the last 8 seconds.
Yeah.
So, Greg, have you not heard this most recent story?
I have not, no.
Oh, shit.
I've been totally anti-Antonio Brown news for the last 6 hours.
Don't worry. You will
lawsuit. How about this? A lawsuit accuses Antonio Brown of rape. In the New York Times, apparently a woman that he went to college with says that in 2017 and in 2018, he sexually assaulted her and then raped her even after that at some point. And listen, I feel you should believe all women, but you should also be innocent until proven guilty. No one deserves to have their reputation ruined if it isn't warranted. But the fact that Antonio Brown is such a dumbass dude, I have no problem for the life of me believing this shit, dude.
That's the damn truth about that.
He doesn't get the benefit of the doubt, that's for sure.
No, he's such a moron.
Especially when you hear what he did.
You know what, man? Listen, if you want to know, I mean, no, listen, I'm crass.
Have you ever been watching TV and Antonio Brown come up behind you and spooge on your back? Because that's what the accusation is. I was watching TV and my man pranked me, essentially, by pulling a Louis C.K.
That and a lot worse, man.
We did that in the Army all the time.
Like, you ain't safe watching TV.
That's a Tuesday in the Army, yeah. So.
Oh man, Greg, don't ask, don't tell, bro.
That's how, yeah.
That's where that came from.
That's having fun with your boys. I mean, that's all that is. But by the way, Ken, I'm on your side, man. The New York Times. I normally never trust the New York Times, but
it's
because
Antonio
Brown is such a dumbass, I have no problem believing this to be a true story. Okay. The man is a selfish moron, and especially if all this comes out to be true, the man deserves everything that he has coming his way. So, to Antonio Brown, ice up, son.
You totally missed it. I thought, Cody, you were going to do what you really laid the foundation for earlier tonight when we were talking about this, and ice up Mike Mayock.
Yeah, there's a conspiracy.
At some point, is there any accusation that as he, finished, that he said, "You stupid cracker"? Because if that is part of the accusation, it's all Mike Mayock. Mike Mayock gets the ice. All right, all right. So my ice up, I got one sports one not sports one, and I'm sorry, Trump lovers. I do have to ice up Donald Trump because today I believe I saw in Fayetteville that he intimated after they win, which he will win in 2020. I think he's just gonna beat ass, and sorry, you better. But he said, my time will end in 2024, but you know what? Maybe we should go for a third. So, oh gosh, if you want to know what it feels like to be a Texan today, leaving New Orleans, just watch Donald Trump say that. That's how I felt. Second of all, Constitution, smonstitution. That's what we're saying at this point. My real ice up pick, though, goes to... and I got to pull it up real quick. Look, as you guys can't see it, but maybe the people in the chat can, but make it big. It is this ridiculously awesome center who comes into the game for the Steelers, and I guess he's a backup center. He got the snap count wrong. The entire offensive line goes. Everybody on the whole team goes, and the center doesn't snap the ball and is sitting there. Just sitting there. And then the ref has to call this. The ref's call was false start on all offensive linemen other than the center. So that backup, you got to get the snap count right, especially when you're the center.
Yeah.
Talk about doing your damn job, huh?
Well, it's like Paradis had a snap in the game the other day that he snapped it for Cam Newton and called for the hot ball. You know? So, I mean, it's the same kind of thing right there. Yeah.
Oh man, it got me. I got the giggles, man, when I saw it. All right, what you got for us, Bat Daddy?
All right, well, I was gonna go with Antonio Brown. I was trying to think all day, and that was the biggest ice up pick I could think. But I kind of want to go a different direction. It's 11:48 Eastern Standard Time right now. 10 minutes away from being 9/11, and I'm a veteran, so I'm gonna do more of a warm up pick than an ice up pick. And I just want to take a second and recognize and thank everybody who is
yes,
in any kind of service industry that does the kind of thing. I realize there are evil people and bad people who do bad things as far as cops and everything else go. I'm not defending that by any means, but by and large, most of them are there to help, and most of them are there to do what is right. And like I said, as a veteran, this kind of this means a little more to me, because that was right when I was getting out of high school and towards the time when I joined the Army, and part of the reason I joined the Army. And I just want to take a second to thank first defenders, cops, military, people who do the right thing. I'm not defending people who do the wrong thing because they're in there. I know they are. and thank them for what they do because, 9/11 was a big deal for us. I remember that day. I'll never forget it. I'm getting chills sitting here talking about it. It's a crazy time. It's always going to go down for us, especially our generation in our history of what things we remember. And it's 10 minutes away from now. And that's kind of my, warm up pick is let's give a thanks to everybody who helped out with 9/11 and everybody who lost their lives and all that other kind of stuff. Let's just take a moment and really think about that. And tomorrow, just think about that kind of stuff, man. We're here for a reason, and because of people that do stuff like that and people that help out in those kind of ways. So, warm up for everybody who helps out in that kind of way.
For sure. And if I may piggyback, and I love that you said that, man. And the fact that the 9/11 first responders are still having to lobby Congress for them to get the help that they need is an embarrassment to our nation and to all the people who put their lives on the line. It's an absolute embarrassment, and they deserve better. Absolutely.
Good. I mean, great thoughts too. And tomorrow, when you do think about those things, go make the world better. Embrace that spirit.
Exactly.
Embrace that spirit of what we do. We in a good society, right? We have a lot of blessings as a society, just like we have we've got our own warts. I think as America is like this. Don't if I call myself fat, that's fine. But if you call me fat, I got problems. So America, we can self critique ourselves and things like that. But as we critique, go make the world better and embrace and honor that moment. Honor that moment tomorrow by doing that, and whatever your small part is. All right, and all right, guys. With this, we got to end the show. We got to end the show. It's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. This is the time of year where we keep going. It is. We give you that long, what. and
you'll love it. Trust me.
Yeah. So, look, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of the show. The straw poll results from the YouTube chat mirror that. Most impressed. Everybody, pleasant surprise was that McCaffrey stat line. So impressive. All right. My name's Tony Dunn. You can follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. Cody Lashney, where can they get after you?
At CODYLAC on Twitter. I'll talk with you about whatever you want. Just hit me up, follow me, talk football, whatever, man. I'm down.
CK, send me that PayPal email address as well as you got in that house yet, brother?
We just signed the contract, so we're underway. The house is still being built, but probably not until December we're moving in.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations. There you go.
Yes.
Where can they find you on Twitter?
At Codizzle Allen, and that's CODIZZLE Allen, ALLEN.
Thank you very much for being a part of the show. Greg, tell us about first what's coming up on the podcast. I saw you guys drop some Titan stuff I'm going to be going to listen to, as well as you got some new stuff coming out probably this week. Tell them where they can find that podcast and what you guys do.
Okay. I am Greg at the Bat Daddy 52 on Twitter. You can hit me up to talk to me about any kind of sports, basketball, football, baseball, hockey. I don't care. I talk any kind of sports. I'm also a big comic book guy. I love the fantasy genre, that kind of thing. I run another podcast called the Super Civil Servants Podcast. We record every Friday night. Tony, in 2 weeks, you are doing a Ninja Turtles Secret of the Ooze review with us, which is going to be awesome. Cody, you're coming on to do some Lord of the Rings with us pretty soon. But we do that every Friday. It drops every Monday. Last week we did Young Justice. We did a big DC Love Fest. Talked about all kinds of DC stuff. Young Justice, Titans, anything DC. But we're down for any kind of topics, any kind of questions. Let me know. At SCS Podcast 1 on Twitter, at SCS Podcast 1 at yahoo.com for emails. And I'm at the Bat Daddy 52. Hit me up anytime.
All right, Panther fans, love the show. Love this conversation we have. Let's keep building this community. Subscribe, share, be a part of the show. And if you're still listening, you're part of the Fantasy Football League. The shirts came in. I'm gonna mail them out tomorrow, or kind of. There's like 52 packages I got to send out, but I will be working on it. And you know what, Greg? You might have to deliver your own damn package.
I was going to say, and I'm a mailman, so I'm going to deliver it.
All right, guys. We'll be here after the show on Thursday and every Tuesday. Until then, good night.
Good night. Keep pounding.
Pounding.